Yeah, because I played the track on Monday, right? And I thought, for a first-time play, right? I played it the first time, and I said, God, it's so catchy, so good. So it's going to be interesting to see. So will you be streaming that live next door as well?
People can listen to it, people can watch it.
Oh my God.
The only thing we haven't done is made
But it's a change from watching your face, isn't it?
It isn't.
I'll go now, right? Good luck.
Bye, Lee. I work really hard on this face. I do exercises and everything. Good luck. All right, that and so much more coming up. We'll tell you more about that after we get the latest news now. And we say good morning to Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. Inishowen Municipal District has been told that planning must begin for resurfacing works on the N13 between Manor Roundabout and Bridge End. Councillor Paul Canning says it's one of the busiest roads in Donegal and some stretches are now becoming dangerous. Councillor Canning says the road is becoming progressively worse.
The road is starting to become dangerous. I drive the road every day of the week and I know how bad a state it's in. But there's vehicles there that have to take serious precaution now, the state of that road. And that's a national primary road that leads from one major populated area to another major populated area, be it Derry, Letterkenny. And I think we need to have the road in better state of repair than that.
High inflation has now peaked in its latest quarterly economic bulletin. The Central Bank of Ireland says the global economy has performed better than expected and price pressures are now easing. The bank's Director of Economics and Statistics, Robert Kelly, says the Irish economy is showing continued resilience and people will see an improvement in their household finances in the month ahead.
It's likely that overall inflation has now peaked, and in the absence of any further energy price shocks, we expect it to moderate this year and next. Core inflation, that excludes the direct impact of energy prices, is likely to be more persistent, but also decline at a more gradual pace. And then combining that inflation outlook with a strong labour market, we anticipate household purchasing power to recover through this year.
Police in Belfast are investigating a paramilitary-style shooting in the city last night. It happened in a house in the Crocus Street area just after 9. 3 masked men forced their way in. A man in his 20s was shot 3 times in both knees and right ankle, causing serious injuries. The gender imbalance on Donegal County Council is to be highlighted today when the gender makeup of members will be reversed. It's part of an International Women's Day initiative to highlight the low numbers of women in Irish politics. Of the 37 Donegal County councillors, just 4 are women. Meanwhile, the government has confirmed a referendum on gender equality will be held in November. Proposals for constitutional amendments will be published by the end of June. The Taoiseach, Integration Minister and Education Minister will officially announce the details later this morning. Labour leader Ivana Bacik says equality must be the cornerstone of the Constitution.
I chaired the Committee on Gender Equality last year, which was asked to consider the 45 recommendations of the Citizens' Assembly on gender equality, which really amount to a blueprint for a more equal Ireland, for an Ireland in which women and men have equal opportunities and equal chances.
Weather forecast very cold this morning with frost and some icy stretches, mainly dry with a fair amount of cloud and some sunny intervals. Top temperatures today 3 or 4 degrees Celsius with moderate to fresh easterly winds. And that's Highland Radio News. Back with news in full at 10 o'clock.
We're all looking to the future with one eye on the cost of living. Where can we save a bit on the costs without cutting back on the living part? Well, here's something major. Buy your car insurance online with Liberty right now and we'll give you up to 3 months free. That's the cover you want and the savings you need. That's Liberty Insurance. Future-proof. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros Compañía de Seguros Area Seguros SA. Trading as Liberty Insurance is authorised by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pensions Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules. Up to 3 months free is equivalent to a 25% online discount. Applies to new private car policies only. Subject to a minimum premium and applied before optional covers.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio. And now it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning. 4 minutes past... God, start that again. Hello, good morning. 4 minutes past 9 this Wednesday, the 8th of March 2023. How are you keeping on this lovely, bright, fresh Wednesday morning? Chilly though, but sure, the roads seem okay where I was travelling anyway. People will think, well, that must be all that matters, but I'm sure it was not too bad wherever you were, if you were out and about this morning. How are you keeping anyway? Get in touch with us on whatever you want to talk about, what we've got lined up for you. 086 60 25,000. As I mentioned to Lee there just before the news, we've had 2 cracking artists already in our final 4 for our Irish Music Month competition, and we've got a cracker for you again today. Boy M5 will be performing 2 songs for us live at about 10:30. Really looking forward to that. As I mentioned, you can listen on air, but you can also watch online as you can the whole show. And you do that by going on to our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland, or across our Facebook pages. Now that's via your phone, your laptop, what other devices, tablets, your smart TV, your Fire Stick. You know, there's no need to miss out there. Right, let's look at the newspapers for this morning. The Finn Valley Voice first. International Women's Day, a rallying point to build support for women's rights. The growing international women's movement, which has been strengthened by 4 global United Nations women's conferences, has helped make International Women's Day a rallying point to build support for women's rights and participation in the political and economic areas. And you can read more on the front of and inside the paper on that today. On to the Inish Times this morning. The Tusnua regeneration project in Carndon is expected to be completed in 2 years, around 18 months later than expected. A design team has been appointed to the €9.5 million project, which involves the modification and extension of McDonough's department store and the Leprechaun bar close to the town's diamond. Tusnua is a partnership between Donegal County Council and Spree Agus Sport, which aims to bring people of all generations back into the town's centre. On to the Donegal Post now, and plans for a new Orange Hall in Ballintra. Planning permission has been sought for the development of a new Orange Hall in Ballintra in the south of the county. A planning application has been lodged with Donegal County Council. The proposed development seeks to remove the existing Orange Hall at Ballinmagorty Scotch, Ballintra. The proposal seeks the go-ahead for the erection of a new Orange Hall, while the application also provides for the installation of a wastewater treatment system and associated drainage and site works, including a car park. On to the Nationals now, and all Nationals cover similar stories. There is the eviction ban, and there is the appearance of the Burke family in court yesterday, and lots of pictures accompanying the latter story there, of course. But we'll start with the eviction ban. And cabinet ministers were warned that extending the controversial eviction ban would lead to reluctance among small-scale and international investors in the Irish rental market. In a strongly worded confidential memo provided to cabinet members, Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien said there was deep concerns about extending eviction bans. It said this would be seen by landlords as a serious breach of trust by government. Additionally, it stated this would undermine their confidence in continuing their participation and growing their investment in the rental market. Now, some will read that as the government backing landlords over the 12,000 plus homeless, and it's 12,000 officially. We know it's much greater than that, with people that are living from one place to the other, people living in their cars, people that are sleeping on people's couches or other people's couches. The figure is much greater than 12,000. It's going to rise. The government has conceded now that you are going to see all different types of people evicted from their homes, homeless, elderly people, young people with families, single parents, couples with children, everyone. Not everyone, but I mean people from all different types of backgrounds. This memo went on to say that an extension of the eviction ban or further ban would be counterbalanced in the medium to long term by increasing exits of landlords and a reluctance by investors, small scale or institutional, to provide private rental accommodation in the Irish market. But could they not have, and clearly I'm not an expert in any of this, could they not have extended it to give people some level of certainty as to where they might live for a while, but redouble efforts, or indeed maybe kickstart efforts, to actually come up with alternatives, incentivise landlords through taxation or whatever it might be to keep them in the market, to encourage them in, but at the same time not adding to our homelessness problem. But anyway, large investment funds have become major players in the Irish rental market. And I think whenever major announcements like this are made, firstly, you have to sort of look at who's welcoming it and who is not happy about it. And those landlords, a lot of TDs who are landlords welcoming it, and who is not welcoming it, it is the people that could be without a roof over their heads. Can you imagine the stress of that? And we can imagine the stress of that because we see it here as well. We have the double jeopardy of homelessness, a shortage of accommodation, but people living in their own homes with big mortgages that are going to have to move out at some point. So we know what it's like here. Make no doubts about that. Right, did you see the footage of the Burke's families? It's not something I really want to voyeur over personally for me, to be honest with you. There's obviously... it's a family that feel very strongly about how they feel. They're probably going the wrong way about it, are they, in terms of this public display yesterday? But at the same time, I get no pleasure in seeing people dragged around the streets or dragged out of courts either. It does nothing for me positive. I would hope that they could come up with a resolution that if some people in that family need protected, they're protected. And obviously the core... the core issue that sparked all of this is that people aren't hurt in it either. But anger erupted in the Court of Appeal yesterday while a judgment dismissing teacher Enoch Burke's appeal aimed at overturning court orders preventing him from teaching or attending a County Westmeath school was being read. Members of the Burke family were twice interrupted the reading and shouted angrily at the three appeal court judges. Martina Burke, Mr Burke's mother, accused the judges of bowing at the altar of transgenderism. The first interruption occurred after the appeal court president, Mr Justice George Birmingham, said he agreed with a High Court judge that the case was not about transgender issues. Mr Burke's sister, Amy Burke, stood up and shouted that was totally incorrect. It was about transgenderism. Her parents and other family members stood and made similar comments. After that interruption, the three judges rose for a few minutes, and when they returned, Mr Justice Birmingham warned against a second interruption. He resumed reading, but within a couple of minutes there was more shouting and the judges left the bench. The 6 members of the Burke family who were in court were then asked by Gardaí to leave the court, and when they refused to do so, there were scuffles and struggles with Gardaís. They were dragged, pushed or pulled out. Mr Justice Birmingham had not completed reading his judgment when the hearing was terminated. His judgment and the judgment of his 2 colleagues, Mr Justice John Edwards and Mr Justice Mary Whelan, were all released later and all dismissed the appeal. The judges concluded Mr Burke had no grounds to overturn High Court orders made last August and September, which restrained Mr Burke attending at Wilson's Hospital School in County Westmeath pending a disciplinary process. Now, they have their views and they're perfectly entitled to express them. But I'm not really sure that this is the way to go about it. But anyway, I get no pleasure in seeing anyone being treated like that either. The Irish Daily Mail this morning: women have become increasingly stressed at work since the onset of the COVID-19 crisis. New research shows that in a survey of more than 1,000 people across Ireland, 80% of women say they're feeling more burned out by their job since the pandemic compared to 75% of men. The study by consultant Accenture to mark International Women's Day today also showed that 71% of women feel their physical and mental well-being has suffered compared to 54% of men. And 50% of all respondents feel they need to be more available from a work perspective since the start of the pandemic, with the gender breakdown showing women feel it more, 72% compared to 54%. Now, I'm not sure if there are more demands on them or the working environment is more difficult since COVID, or it's a perception or a feeling. I'm not sure it's covered in this. But overall, 64% of correspondents have felt more overwhelmed by increasing responsibilities both at home and at work. Is that how you're feeling? 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts to that number. We're going to be getting stories like this on a every other day basis, I'd imagine. This is in the Irish Daily Star. HSE chiefs have been slammed for wasting taxpayers' money by ordering 10 times more ventilators than were clinically needed during the COVID pandemic. The Public Accounts Committee conducted a review into the spending, which saw 3,500 of the expensive pieces of medical equipment ordered at a cost of €129 million. That's when we were shaking that money tree. This is 10 times that would have been needed as part of surge capacity planning, and almost twice the 1,900 that were officially sanctioned by the Department of Health bosses. And the POC has found, the PAC that is, that almost 7 million of this was spent on ventilators that were never even needed. So who's signing off on those contracts? We covered this actually a few weeks ago, but it's being raised now it's being raised at a public accounts committee meeting, so no harm giving another shout out. Ireland may now have the highest level of uninsured vehicles in the EU. The rising rate is now 3 times higher than the UK and 4 times the average across the EU EEA area. The figures were recently published by the Motor Insurance Bureau of Ireland, which also found 1 in every 12 vehicles on private roads are uninsured. In total, just under 188,000 private Irish vehicles were being driven without insurance in 2022, a rise of 13,626 compared to 2021. Now, are you an uninsured driver? And if so, why? Now, you can text us in absolute confidence if you want, 086 60 25,000, or you can send me a message on Facebook if you want to get an insight as to why. Is it for financial reasons? Is it because it's you know you'll get away with it? Is it because you don't think the guards will catch you? Maybe you're just the type of person that doesn't give 2 fingers salute to the authorities or rules. So text us and give us an understanding. 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps or texts. If you are one of the 188,000 uninsured drivers and you do so routinely, why? What is your motivation? What are the reasons? As I say, it's not a case of passing on any info or anything. It's just to try and get an understanding or an insight. You can email me, and as I say, it's an absolute confidence, to Greg Hughes at highlandradio.com. I'm the only person who has access to that, if you want to, but just to get an insight as to the reasons why. Finally, in the Irish Daily Mirror, many of you still continue to be very interested in the Sophie Toscan de Plantier murder and have watched many documentaries, listened to many podcasts. Film director Jim Sheridan has given Gardaí new information over the murder of Sophie Toscan de Plantier that he hopes will help catch the killer. Now, I don't believe he or she who did kill her will ever be caught, to be honest with you. I just think it's actually a public fascination at this point rather than a investigation that will ever be concluded. But anyway, they were keen to speak to him as part of their cold case review of the French woman's brutal killing and to see what information he'd discovered while making his smash hit Sky documentary Murder at the Cottage, The Search for Justice for Sophie. Mr. Sheridan confirmed last night he'd told the officers everything he knew about a foreign man who was seen following Sophie around Skull, West Cork on the evening before she died. He subsequently identified him and has passed on his name and address in France to detectives. The man lives in the Paris area and would have known Sophie's late husband, Daniel. So you can see what the picture they're trying to paint there. But it's that person being in that part of the world at that time, and his connections are interesting and something worthy of further investigation. Good morning, Marie, Audrey, Annie, Paul and Beth, all saying hello to us on social media. They're watching the show live. A very good morning to you. You can do so on YouTube or on Facebook. Right, okay. We are going to be talking about new research on the experiences of victims of crime in Ireland. Stay right there for that. It's coming up after this break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town. And we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
At On Post, we believe in giving you more power over how you bank. That's why AIB and Bank of Ireland customers can now lodge and withdraw money at any of our 900 post offices across Ireland 6 days a week. That's right, your bank is in your post office for personal and business banking alike, meaning you can bank wherever you live or work. Visit your local post office or onpost.com/everydaybanking. On Post, Your money for your world. Allied Irish Banks plc and Bank of Ireland are regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagorry, Strabane. 2-course express menu, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Only $18.95. 7-day weekly a la carte menu, euro for pound. Now taking bookings for Mother's Day and Sunday carvery. 2 courses, only $15.95. Check out our party packages and great deals at Floyd's Restaurant, Ballymagorry, Strabane.
Oh, now Liam Herrick is Executive Director of the Irish Council for Civil Liberties. Good morning, Liam. How are you keeping?
Very well, thanks.
It's great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking the time out this morning. Right, now, the Irish Council for Civil Liberties. Tell us actually about the organisation to start off with, because we talk from time to time, but just so people know, who is the group? You know, is it independent and independent of what? Who does it work with?
Great, Greg. Yeah, no, and it's been great to be on the programme. I suppose very often we talk about matters to do with criminal justice. So we're an independent human rights organisation that was set up in 1976. So we're around quite a while. The people involved in setting up the organisation were a group of concerned lawyers and academics concerned with human rights issues in Ireland at the time, including Mary Robinson, Donald Barrington, who became a Supreme Court judge, Kader Asmal, who was leader of the Irish anti-apartheid movement. And over the years, we've campaigned across a wide range of issues to do with the justice system, to do with the area of equality, and more recently, a strong emphasis on issues to do with privacy and free speech. And we've always been independent of government in the sense that we don't take any state funding. So we would raise money from our member supporters and from international foundations and so on. And I suppose our perspective really is to try to inform the development of law and policy in Ireland so that it respects people's rights. Ireland is a pretty good human rights record compared to a lot of countries in the world, but we also, of course, have problems, and there's also areas in which we could do a little bit better.
And do you see an important role too in that if there is to be a new law introduced or what have you, that there is another voice that says, well, hold on a second, there's some potential here, and a conversation is had that perhaps otherwise may not have been had?
I think that's exactly it. You know, I mean, our laws are made by the people that we elect, and they have the most important role in making our laws, of course. But in a really healthy democracy, there's a wider discussion about the development of law and policy where the ordinary people have to have a say, and groups that have particular perspectives can influence it. So a lot of our work will be in making submissions to the Oireachtas, appearing before Oireachtas committees, and trying to suggest ways in which our laws can be improved. And one of the main areas of our work is about the criminal justice system, making sure that everybody who is engaged in the justice system has their rights protected. Sometimes that can be perceived, I suppose, as there's a trade-off between the rights of people who are accused of crime and the rights of people who are the victims of crime. But we believe strongly that it's not a zero-sum game, that there are many ways in which the criminal justice system can be improved for everybody. And there's a lot of ways in which the justice system can be improved for the victims of crime that don't mean taking entitlements or rights away from people accused of crime. And I suppose that's what we're talking about this week in particular.
Excellent.
Is about support for victims.
We'll get onto that. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's just to try and get an understanding of a story that's been dominating front pages for right or wrong, and that's the Burke family and Enoch Burke's situation, okay? Now, they are in court and they don't feel they're getting a fair hearing, and obviously that culminated yesterday in them being removed from the court. Now, obviously, you have to have courts, right? There has to be some respect and rules for that. But then you have a group of people that feel they're not being listened to or given a fair hearing. Where does that fall into civil liberties, something like that?
I think, Greg, it raises a number of very important issues from a civil liberties perspective. Everybody must have access to the courts to vindicate their rights. And in general, we have a strong independent legal system in Ireland. People do have access to the courts. There's areas, of course, that could be improved in terms of legal aid and so on that we work on all the time. But people do have access to the courts. But the other side of that, of course, is to make a democracy and a legal system function, there must be respect for the courts. And in I think what we saw yesterday is that there are parties to legal proceedings and they have a lot of avenues. One of the individuals involved is involved in an employment dispute. He has access to the Workplace Relations Commission. He has access to the High Court. He's been before the courts a lot in relation to that. And he has appealed court orders and they've had access to that too. But ultimately, there comes a point where the court has made orders and people are consistently not only refusing to comply with the orders, but in fact, disrespecting the court, causing a breach of peace in a court, and basically saying that they don't respect the authority of the judicial system. Something ultimately has to give, and courts have to be able to uphold their authority. So nobody wants to see, and I mean, particularly the justice system, but I think nobody in society wants to see people going to prison or being arrested that haven't committed serious crimes. It's a really situation that everybody wants to avoid. In this instance, it seems that some of these people actually want to be arrested and go to prison to further their cause. It's a very bad situation for everybody. And I mean, I think at this stage where we're at is that the courts now are trying to use every possible means at their disposal to try to uphold their own decisions without it leading to people going to jail. And I think we're looking now at people's assets being seized and income perhaps being seized as well. It's a real mess.
Okay, it doesn't this is whataboutery maybe, but there are some that might feel that if this was a group of individuals that weren't in suits and ties, that they might be treated differently. Is that just an opinion and we don't know because we can't cross comparison? Or do you know what I mean? Like, is there also, does this raise questions about the fairness of treatment of people that at least appear to be from different backgrounds?
Well, I think one of the reflections that people have when they looked at what happened yesterday, there was a serious breach of the peace in the court. It's a court of appeal with 3 senior judges involved. There's a lot of court staff there. There's guards, there's court security and so on. And you had a group of individuals shouting obscenities and, very strong language, questioning the integrity of judges. And I think anybody that's attended our courts that know that even minor demonstrations of disrespect to judges can very often lead to very serious consequences for people. I think, if anything, the courts have showed an incredible level of patience with this particular individual and the people associated with him. And I think that patience now is perhaps at a breaking point, Okay. So there has been an awful lot of deference given to them. I think if you look at the decision of the Court of Appeal yesterday, it's a very detailed and considered opinion. But they are also, there has to come a point where the courts stand up for their own authority as well. And I think that that's what you're seeing. I would say that one of the frustrations many people are seeing with this, Greg, too, is that these people are trying to use the legal proceedings for a campaigning purpose. I think that's pretty clear. And maybe for all of us in society and for the media, there comes a point that maybe we need to stop giving them so much oxygen because it's clearly what they want, But I think we're probably at a stage now where the courts are going to take a stronger hand here. Okay. It's not a good situation, but I think they have no choice.
And as I said before, you joined us, I get no pleasure in seeing fellow citizens being dragged around the place like that. It's fodder for the papers, and we're talking about it, so I can't say I'm not using it as fodder, but I just would hope it could be resolved. Okay, thanks for that, by the way. But we're speaking to you about research to understand the experience of victims of crime in Ireland, and the findings of this research will be used to develop training to improve victim supports around the country. We do have findings from the likes of the Garda Public Attitude Survey, but clearly you believe there are gaps. Your organisation believes there are gaps that need to be filled. So what is it you want to know about people's experiences that we don't already know then?
Well, I think the first thing to say, Greg, and it's really important to know, is that since 2017, there's legislation in Ireland which gives people who are the victims of crime rights. For many years, victims were ignored within the criminal justice process, which was mainly about the prosecution and the accused person. And one of those rights is that you have a right to access support services. So, to address whatever trauma or other experiences you've had around your victimization. And you have a right to be informed by the state, and that primarily means the guards, about those services that are available. Now, anecdotally, and this is picked up in the Garda attitude survey as well, we hear reports that, first of all, people sometimes are not informed of the services that are available. And secondly, that even when they are informed, that the availability of services is inadequate and uneven. It's inadequate across the whole country, even in Dublin and where the national services are located, but it's particularly deficient in some parts of rural Ireland. And what we're trying to do with the research that we're involved at the moment is to get a very clear picture from the perspective of victims. So on our website, www.iccl.ie, you will see a survey which takes 15 minutes. And what we're looking for is people who have been victims of crime, all types of crime, to just recount to us the experiences they've had about being told about what services are available and also what services they were able to access.
Okay, well, with that in mind, you do know that 2/3 of crime victims are not provided with information about the supports they're entitled to at all. So we have that information. Are you then trying to find out what the pattern is in what areas? Is it a particular type? Is it particular types of crime where there are gaps here? Like, are those the blanks that you're trying to fill to some extent?
That's right. And in fairness, I think the guards and the other criminal justice agencies are serious about trying to improve the situation too. It's difficult to understand why we're not meeting a basic level of information and service here without hearing a little bit more from the victims of crime. It might be, for example, that members of An Garda Síochána in some parts of the country are receiving training about the obligations that they have to victims of crime, to an extent that in other parts of the country that they're not. Or it might be that in some parts of the country, guards just have not been provided with information about what support services are in their facility and others have. So I think we do need to unpick that a little bit more. But I mean, I think it's no getting away from the fact that we have under-resourced victim services for many, many years. And even in Dublin, where the main national organisations are based, we were hearing even in the media over the last number of days from Maeve Lewis at 1 in 4, one of the main service providers for victims of sexual violence, to say that they have very long waiting lists for psychotherapy for people who are referred to them from the courts. So these are victims of some of the most serious crimes who have some of the most acute needs for support, and they can't access them.
Yeah, and that makes that other story,
really
that makes the other story about the psychotherapy sector in this country even more worrying, that there's already a shortage and people really need it, and you want to make sure they're getting access to people that are properly qualified, and it's all kind of intertwined, I suppose, to some extent. So if people go to iccl.ie and take part in this, I think people who've had negative experiences are more likely to be motivated to take part. Is that okay? Can it be calibrated to recognise that? Is it really the experience, the poor experiences that we're actually really looking to catch?
I think if we're serious about change, then it's particularly important we hear about people who've experienced difficulties. And I mean, this is not going to be the only piece of research in this area. As you say, the guards conduct some research as well. One thing that's important, I think, here, Greg, is that we're conducting this as part of a European-wide piece of research. So what we're hoping to see is comparing the Irish experience from other countries that perhaps we'll be able to learn. Many countries across Europe have systems that in some ways are better than ours. In Northern Ireland and in Britain, they have appointed national statutory agencies with responsibility for victims of crime. So you have a victims commissioner or victims office, which oversees the provision of service across the whole country. Now, we've called for that to be introduced here. And in the last election, this was one of the campaigning issues that we brought to all of the political parties. Unfortunately, it didn't make it into the programme for government this time round. We think that was a mistake. But the Department of Justice is now introducing a special statutory agency to deal with victims of sexual and domestic violence, which I think is good. We would suggest that it's actually needed for all victims of crime. And hopefully in the next election, we will see that being the next step forward. So look, I think this is an area where all of society can get behind it, because we've all either been victims of crime or we know people who are victims of crime. It's something that we can do in society to help deal with people who experience a trauma and improve the experience of everybody in the justice system. There's no losers here. And we'd hope that the community can get behind this.
All right, people have a week to take part in this. Go to the news section of iccl.ie, and I think quite importantly too, if you would prefer to go through the questionnaire with a researcher on the phone or via Zoom, you can email info@iccl.ie. All right, listen, thanks for covering the range of issues there. It's greatly appreciated whilst we had access to you. All right, take care. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, that was Liam Herrick, Executive Director of the Irish Council for Civil Liberties. Now, a caller says there must be respect for the courts, absolutely, but respect must be earned. Another caller says, morning, you've just left a story about that poor man who has been demonised and jailed for refusing to recognise all those so-called genders as they've described it, straight into a story about the gender pay gap, where presumably we're back to the reality of two genders. I see exactly where you're coming from. Mr. Burke has found himself in the situation, though he refused to call a student by a different name. Is what it came down to. That's what he refused to do. I don't think he was being asked to embrace transgenderism or to change his religious views or to... I mean, he was asked to refer to a student by a different name. He refused to do so. He publicly then stated that he was offended that he should be asked to do so. He obviously then had a public engagement with the principal of the time. At that point then, he was suspended on full pay pending a review of the situation as to how the situation could be managed going forward, the disciplinary element of it in terms of the engagement with the principal in a public space. And then it all started going to court at that point. So the thing this all started is because there was a young student at the centre of all of this in school who wanted to be called a different name. And here we are now. It's led to 5 or 6 members of the family being dragged out of the courts in the fashion that they were.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Imlíana, tá grád caiidánach an fetrol in éireann le hathrú go brosla níos glaise. I a de. Sé I a de an petrol caiidánach atá á úsáid hena héan na dúsgurt éireann sa bhreatain agus in go leor tíre orpacha eile. Tuisgur brosla níos glunne be sin na chuidiú agin in éireann ar sprochan éráid a bhaint amach ar nastíochtaí a laidú agus ar neistú go saol níos in bhunthe a bhrúchan cín. Le tuile óla se áil te chuig gov.ie/I a de. Tachtrucht ó rialtas na hÉireann.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €2.8 million. Play responsibly in store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Sheridan Security, now introducing zero-wire smart alarm systems. Zero wire, zero mess, and a real peace of mind. With a simple press of a button, your alarm can be set or unset, or download the free app and control it from your phone. Call us today on 074 912 6025 and get your alarm from €299. Stay local, stay safe, and protect what you value most with Sheridan Security Systems.
If something's free, why would you turn it down? I mean, a free haircut from a 5-year-old. Oh, no. Or a free sample of onion paste. Oh. Well then, how about a free tour of your neighbour's new shed? Oh, sounds, well... OK, look, they were bad examples. But how about a free eye test and free glasses from the €69 range of Specsavers with your PRSI? Well, that sounds like something to smile about.
Book an appointment or find out more at specsavers.ie.
All right, you're welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. We're joined on the programme now by Wendy McCarry, from the CEO of the Bluestack Foundation, and also John McCarry, Finance and Compliance Officer with the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation. Both of you, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Greg.
It's good to have you with us. Good to see you both again. Right, okay. Fantastic news that the foundation has been shortlisted for this year's Community Fund as part of the permanent TSB Community Fund group. And listen, let's get it right out from the beginning here. we're looking for votes here. That's what we're doing. We're campaigning for people to get onto permanenttsb.ie/community fund and vote for the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation under the North and West region, an organisation that does an amazing work. Right, okay. So, John, I suppose any funding revenue streams the foundation has to be trying to access, and this is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're fundraising constantly, and we're constantly trying to update our fundraising methods. We're moving into income generation a lot, but it's these kind of big funds like this that come in, that really could make or break us. In terms of this particular fund, we were approached by Emer McMullen and Paul Saunders from the Permanent TSB branch here in Donegal Town, and just two incredibly enthusiastic, energetic individuals who just wanted to roll with this. They couldn't believe that we had been shortlisted, and now that we have a real opportunity. I believe last year they raised €200,000 and each charity got about 33,000. So it's just huge money, and it would mean an awful lot to ourselves.
And Wendy, what makes this quite easy for all of us here is, if I'm correct, that the Bluestack Special Need Foundation is the only charity finalist in Donegal. So the entire county doesn't have to split their loyalties here. The entire county and the region, in fact, can get in behind the Bluestack Foundation.
Yeah, it would just be fantastic. It would mean the world to us, and that's what we're looking for, just people to take 1 minute. Greg, every other time we're on, we're always looking for people to donate or to fundraise or to do something, and this is just 1 minute. Take 1 minute and do the vote, and it would mean the world to us here.
We're looking for a couple of clicks, nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
John, do you want to tell us or remind us, because many people would know, the work the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation does?
Sure. So our mission statement here is enhancing the lives of people with additional needs. And at the moment, we're running 5 departments which are delivering clubs and programs, services and supports to young adults and children with additional needs right across County Donegal. At the moment, we have about 400 members. And the services that we're providing can only be described as essential, really. Coming off COVID as well, I think we saw that people were struggling, but we kept our doors open the entire time during COVID, and it's important to remember that these services are now part of people's routine, and without them, people would be struggling an awful lot.
Yeah, Wendy, they are essential services. And if you weren't here because there was gaps spotted and they're being filled now, the state will not necessarily be providing these services, and these are services really I think state should be funding and providing. That's the importance of the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation. If it was not there, an awful lot of people would be left behind. An awful lot of families would not be supported in the way they are, Wendy.
Absolutely. I mean, like John says, we have 438 families across the county that we support, and most state organisations are really only focusing on the educational development and the health development of our children. But, our children and our adults are a lot more than that. They deserve a social life. They deserve the opportunity for friendships, for engagement, for social engagement, for life skills enhancement. They deserve those opportunities the same as everybody else. Not only deserve, but they have a right.
Work opportunities, enhancing and developing those work opportunities to prepare them for their lives ahead.
Absolutely, yeah. And, we have a training and progression programme here. We've 23 adults on it. And they work to try and, move into the area of education, enterprise and employment. And again, that's funded by Pobble. We're very lucky to have that funding here. But they absolutely love it. They really enjoy it. They're out there doing work experience. They do work placement visits. They do all the relevant education qualifications that they need to be able to progress into the world of work. And we've had 6 of them who've actually gone on and into full-time and part-time work now, which is a fantastic progression rate.
It is. And as Wendy quite rightly pointed out, in the past we're talking about, the difficulty in getting funding or to support this fundraiser, and we're going to do that again in the future. Make no mistakes, I'm sure. But what this is about is just for you now, where if it's safe to do so, if you're at work or at home, wherever you are, to take out your phone or open your laptop and go to permanenttsb.ie/community fund and vote for the Bluestack Special Needs Foundations under the North and West region. Now, we know there are tens of thousands of people currently listening to this programme right now. So if a good proportion of those just took this little bit of effort, take out the phone, permanenttsb.ie/community Community Fund. Every vote would be incredibly important for the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation, which is all the while, John, seeking to, maintain and improve services for service users.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole any income that is brought into the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation is automatically reinvested into making sure that we're developing our supports and services to the highest capacity. We're at a stage now where we're actually outgrowing our main office building, and it'll be at a stage where we'll need to look at new locations. But the reality is the services don't stop, and we have to make sure we're keeping up with the demand of it. A big thing now we're doing is we're trying to diversify our funding strategies. We have our coffee dock out the back, that little cafe out the back of our main office building here that we have the young adults working in, and it's great income generation for ourselves, as well as great work experience for the young adults as well. We have a 50-50 draw that we've launched recently online as well, so I would definitely encourage your listeners to sign up for that. You can sign up online for it, and we do a live draw every week, and it's a lot of fun, and it's 50% for the foundation and 50% for the winner each week. But all these different funding strategies, they're all used to reinvest back into the main core clubs and programs, because that's how the foundation started off. It was offering that essential couple hours of respite for families who are on the brink, and that's what we really need to develop here.
Yep. Caller says, I just voted, took less than 30 seconds. So that's all we're asking for of someone's life today, isn't it?
Thank you.
30 seconds. And we're up against 14 other charities. I say we because it's the Donegal charity, right? So it's we're pulling on the Donegal jersey for this one. And it could be areas from different population sizes and all that type of stuff. So what we have to do is work extra hard to give you guys the best chance. Go to permanenttsb.ie/community fund. You have to do nothing else other than vote for the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation. It's the only charity in Donegal that's been shortlisted as one of the 14, and if successful, you would know the money would be used very, very wisely and very effectively, as has been proven heretofore with the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation. We will link the URL on our social medias as well, and we're just asking for 30 seconds today from as many people as possible. As I say, there's tens of thousands of listening. I'm sure many of them will just whip out the phone or whatever. Is that all right? Anything you want to add, John or Wendy?
No, just thank you so much for the support, Greg. We really appreciate it. And a huge thanks as well, like John said, to Emer and Paul in the permanent TSB here in Donegal Town.
Brilliant. And get on to, is it the Facebook page where there's details on the other fundraising drives and efforts, which might cost listeners a little bit of money and they might win something, but this one won't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but the Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok as well, www.bluestackfoundation.com, and all the buttons and links are on the front page there. You can have a look through it.
All right, John. All right, Wendy. Both of you, thank you so very much this morning. Have a lovely day.
You too.
Take care, okay? John McCarry, Finance and Compliance Officer with the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation, and Wendy McCarry there, CEO of the same foundation. And that URL, permanenttsb.ie/community fund. I'm going to take a break, and I am going to vote for the Bluestack Special Needs Foundation under the North and West region.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Callahan's Gala and Go Burt, your one-stop family shop. Drive into our newly renovated spacious forecourt. Fill up with our upgraded modern fuel pumps and save with our keen Go Fuel prices. Located on the main Letterkenny to Derry Road, we're the ideal pit stop on your Donegal journey. Fast flow fuel, self-service or attended with a smile.
Sure, it's all go at Callahan's.
Some sports demand resilience, grit, power. Cheltenham demands it all, and this is William Hill Racing at Cheltenham. Get our top price guarantee against selected bookmakers on all championship races. It's who you play with, William Hill.
Top prices from 9 a.m. 27th of February 23 until the start of each of the 4 championship races compared to selected competitors. Standard win market odds only. Excludes competitor offers. Further terms apply. 18 plus for advice and information. Visit gamblingcare.ie.
Final call for entry to the .ie Digital Town Awards, celebrating the digital achievements of towns and communities across Ireland with a €100,000 prize fund. Enter by March 10th at weare.ie.
Mary here from the cosmetics department at McGee's Chemist to let you know that Lancome have a great beauty gift available here this week. Buy 2 Lancome products, one of them to be skincare, and you will get a free 8-piece gift containing a full-size rose sugar scrub, absolute day and night travel size creams, and more iconic Lancome products. This is available until Saturday the 18th of March or while stocks last. For any skincare advice, you can always talk to Gemma or myself here at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
How well do you know your mum? Find out with our fantastic Mother's Day celebrations at Foyleside Shopping Centre, Saturday 11th of March from 12 to 3 p.m. Enter our fun-filled quiz, How Well Do You Know Your Mum? Live with Jerry Labs for your chance to win amazing prizes for your mum. See Foyleside Shopping Centre's Facebook page for details.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Salah, Ninnis, the Beatles. You can now fly to Liverpool 8 times a week with Ryanair this summer. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, it was a nice morning, wasn't it? Nice and fresh and dry and bright. Well, let's see what the rest of the day has in store for us. Very cold with frost and icy stretches, though the rest of the day, that's this morning, the rest of the day will be mainly dry with a fair amount of cloud and some sunny intervals, highest temperatures of 3 or 4 degrees with moderate to fresh easterly winds. Now, you might remember we spoke to Tony Forrester of the Letterkenny Chamber some time ago, calling on businesses and organisations and institutions across our region to sign an open letter in support of the proposed upgrades to the A5 Western Transport Corridor road scheme. We're going to speak to our colleague now from the London Dairy Chamber of Commerce, Anna Doherty. Happy with the response. 180 of these businesses and organisations responded to the call, Anna.
Yes, morning, Greg. Yes, we're very happy with that response, and it came from all over the Northwest. So both chambers members were approached, and we're delighted to have that kind of support.
Yes, and of course there is the business interest, the access interest, the development interest, but the Chamber's also recognising the importance of the safety element of this, because we all are of the community as well.
Absolutely, that is safety issue is paramount, of course. And even yesterday we heard there was an accident there down in Newton Cunningham, and that they closed the road at Newton Stewart, and they closed the road. So it just shows, it just illustrates what we're saying. But over 70 deaths in the last 30 years and 10 in the last year, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, and we've heard from families and through the GA's backing of this as well, the real life story. Living along this road, you either have lost someone, a family member, you know someone who's lost someone, or you know someone who's been left with life-changing injuries. It's no joke. This is the reality of this stretch of road.
Yes, absolutely. And our members are telling us that the road is not fit for purpose. The condition that it's in, the single track, which is mostly single track the whole way down to Auchnacloy, for the volume of traffic now that it takes, it really isn't safe for anybody.
Yeah, and of course, as you say, first and foremost, we talk of the safety, but in terms of access to the Northwest, it is crucial as well for the maintenance and development of the business community, which favours everyone.
Yeah, it's a huge issue for ourselves, and obviously for the Letterkenny Chamber as well. And that was one of the reasons that I spoke to Tony, and she was happy to get behind the campaign as well, because we felt that, our council told us actually that although the majority of people in our area support the A5 upgrade, it had been disproportionately misrepresented at the recent inquiries. So we wanted to make sure that the business voice was heard. And obviously for both sides of the border, it is a key transport corridor and access to that Dublin market, the ports, and even for healthcare and the health visits that many of us have to take to access Dublin.
No doubt about it. Okay, well, that open letter now forwarded on to the relevant authorities. None of us want people's rights to be trampled upon or processes to be circumvented or whatever. But there comes a point where a critical piece of infrastructure, we have to look at the balance here. And I think the majority of people feel that this is something that needs to go forward whilst respecting opposition as much as can. But this is a critical piece of infrastructure on multiple platforms, on multiple levels.
Yes, it is important that the inquiry goes ahead, and I did hear this morning actually on your station that there is confirmation that it will take place in May now, so that's good to hear.
Excellent stuff. Thank you. Lovely to speak to you, Anna. That's Anna Doherty of the Londonderry Chamber of Commerce. She is the Chief Executive. 08660 25,000 coming up in the next hour. Boy M5 performing live for you here on the show. They are a big band with a big sound. There are third finalists in the Irish Music Month competition. You'll be able to listen to them, of course, across your wireless, your radio, your smart speaker, your phone, wherever you're listening to us or how you're listening to us, in the car, of course. But if you want to watch it, get onto our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland, and you can watch as events unfold there, sound checking as we speak right now. Caller says, one good reason why we have such a large number of uninsured drivers is the high cost, in my opinion. How do we compare with other countries? Poorly, I reckon. The compo culture we have and ambulance chasers doesn't help. But we were told, weren't we, that this whole book of quantum and limits and changes were going to make things different. Some people's premiums are coming down, but anyway. Looks like even Greg has come under pressure to water down the story about the Burkes. Explain that a little bit more to me, please, if you don't mind. 08660 25,000. I'm under no pressure at all. And what do you mean by water down the story? I don't understand. Do you mean I didn't have to mention it at all? I literally have brought it up for conversation today. So let me know what you mean. I really am genuinely interested in your text. You say, I've come under pressure to water down the story about the Burkes. I don't understand. I actually, to be honest with you, and this is being completely honest, I don't know if you're suggesting that I'm backing the Burkes or not backing the Burkes. I don't know what you're saying. Good morning, Greg. It started with calling a boy a girl, ended up with a teacher in jail. How does the child's rights trump the rights of schools and courts are at fault? People don't believe what they are saying, yet they are virtual signalling. We have a man in jail identifying as a baby. It's gone way too far. But listen, we're pulling these crazy examples out. That's not really reflective of what we're going on about here. How were, and this is a question, not a statement, how were Mr. Burke's rights infringed in calling a person by a different name? Like, so if I go out to Caroline now, I'm not trivialising the subject whatsoever, but if I go out now and ask her to call me a different name, a feminine name, let's just say, I ask her to call me Susan going forward, say it's very, very important to me. How does that infringe on her rights in any way, shape or form? Or does it? Explain to me. 08660 25,000. That's what this came down to. Now, people's religious beliefs and everything else have been dragged into this and it's been used as a platform to discuss those, but that's fundamentally not why someone ended up in jail. You're talking about victims of crime, throwing someone on the ground as the guards did yesterday. Is that not a crime? Yeah, I saw the footage you're talking of. You're talking about the sister where she seemed to tumble on her heels. The guards did go on to pick her up, though, but again, not something I was very comfortable watching at all. Morning, Greg. You didn't refuse to call him a different name or her a different name. And I say that because I don't know what gender they were identifying on. He refused to call them they, which is not a name. He's lost his job over this. Thank you. I don't understand how you can refuse to call someone they. I can't think of the last time I called Caroline her. To be honest with you, I don't. It's not generally in my everyday language where I have to refer to Caroline in that way. But okay. Anyway, we'll keep the conversation going after the news at 10. Stay where you are.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Anyway, last week I was in the house. I'd done a crossword, watched a bit of telly, made about 40 cups a day, and I just thought today's the day. You see, I haven't been out much since before the pandemic, but I knew the bridge night was on. So I went. It was great seeing them all. They're a really good laugh. I missed that.
Reconnecting with others is always good for your health. Maybe it's time to say hello again, world. A message from Healthy Ireland.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Pyrex is all half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price Pyrex is gone, it's gone. Also, all toilet seats and all mirrors and clocks are all still half price. But when all the half price toilet seats and all the half price mirrors and clocks are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More or visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
It's pizza night, and if it isn't, it really should be. With an M&S hand-stretched, stone-ground pizza, a choice of topping plus an indulgent side, all for €8. You can't top a great pizza. Well, you can, but we've already done it for you. Available in-store now. This is not just dine-in. This is the home of dine-in from M&S.
New football boots for the season ahead at Brian McCormick Sports. Classic triple black boots in soft ground. Adidas Predator Accuracy with improved texture across the strike zone in classic soft ground sole unit. Try the classic Puma King Top SG with a sleek soft leather in classic 6-stud for extra grip. Get back to training with all your essentials, shorts, socks, gum shield and kit bag. Brian McCormick Sports, Main Street, Letterkenny. Click bmcsports.ie.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. The Nisho Municipal District has been told that planning must begin for resurfacing works on the N13 between Manor Roundabout and Bridge End. Councillor Paul Canning says it's one of the busiest routes in Donegal and some stretches of the road are now becoming dangerous. He says the road is becoming progressively worse.
The road is starting to become dangerous. I drive the road every day of the week and I know how bad a state it's in. But there's vehicles there that have to take serious precaution now, the state of that road. And that's a national primary road that leads from one major populated area to another major populated area, be it Derry, Letterkenny. And I think we need to have the road in better state of repair than that.
The Health Minister claims fears of a future government led by Sinn Féin is driving landlords out of the market. Minister Stephen Donnelly's defended the Cabinet decision to lift the ban on evictions from the end of the month. He says he's been told of landlord concerns about the prospect of a left-wing government.
Anecdotally, yes, I have heard people say that they are worried about a Sinn Féin-led government, and when they listen to Owen O'Brien, who on the radio yesterday morning seemed to throw in the towel on the rental market and small landlords. Small landlords rent out 86%. 17 in every 20 rental properties are rented out by small landlords who have one or two properties. We know that they are selling up.
It's hoped contract documents for the Tusnua regeneration project in Carndonagh will be signed shortly. They were to have been signed on Friday last, but that was cancelled. Councillor Albert Doherty says it's important those documents are signed and the work starts as quickly as possible.
I was disappointed that the Capital Project Delivery Unit and the architect-led design team, which was to be launched, signed officially on Friday morning last, has been delayed. I'm very keen and anxious that as we progress this venture, that all items happen as soon as is possible.
The gender imbalance on Donegal County Council will be highlighted today when the gender makeup of members will be reversed this afternoon. It's part of an International Women's Day initiative to highlight the low numbers of women in Irish politics. Members of the Women's Regional Caucus will mark the event by transforming the chamber makeup by having more women present in the chamber. Of the 37 Donegal County councillors, just 4 of them are female. Ireland has the second highest level of uninsured vehicles in the EU. 7.8% of private vehicles were on the road in Ireland without a valid insurance disc in 2021. Only Greece is higher at 8.2%. The Motor Insurers Bureau of Ireland will today tell an Oireachtas committee that road traffic and roads bill must be fully enacted. David Fitzgerald, Chief Executive of MIBI, says while the penalties are stiff, there is no proper enforcement.
Gardaí already have the power to seize the vehicle on the spot, as well as other significant penalties such as an automatic court appearance, 5 penalty points and a fine of up to €5,000, and repeat offenders can be punished by up to 6 months in prison.
High inflation has now peaked. In its latest quarterly economic bulletin, the Central Bank of Ireland says the global economy has performed better than expected and price pressures are now easing. The bank's Director of Economic and Statistics, Robert Kelly, says the Irish economy is showing continued resilience and people will see an improvement in their household finances in the months ahead.
It's likely that overall inflation has now peaked, and in the absence of any further energy price shocks, we expect it to moderate this year and next. Core inflation, that excludes the direct impact of energy prices, is likely to be more persistent, but also decline at a more gradual pace. And then combining that inflation outlook with a strong labour market, we anticipate household purchasing power to recover through this year.
Weather now very cold this morning with frost and icy stretches. Today will be mainly dry with a fair amount of cloud and some sunny intervals, highest temperatures of 3 or 4 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Wednesday morning, the 8th of March. The death has occurred at her home of Dr. Thecla Morgan, née Frost, the Glebe, Letterkenny, formerly of Cratloe, County Clare. Reposing at her late residence from 12 noon to 8 p.m. today and tomorrow, with Rosary nightly at 8 p.m. Funeral from there on Friday to the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Ballyrain, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the family plot in Conwell Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed online on the Church of the Irish Martyrs YouTube channel. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Renal Dialysis Unit, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. The death has taken place in Centreville, Virginia, USA, of Trevor Bell, formerly of William Street, Rafo. Cremation will take place in Centreville, Virginia, USA. The death has taken place of Mary Braden, 18, Dramahi Park, and formerly of Garawart, Ardra. Her remains will repose at her former residence at Garawart today from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 to the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Shanahan House, Ardra, or St Vincent de Paul, Ardra, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Anne Conwell, née Devine, 171 Moorlock Road, Dunnamana, formerly of McCulloughstown Road, Plumbridge. Reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:20 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Killeen, Dunnamana, at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Cancer Research, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. to 11 a.m. Requiem Mass can be viewed live via Donaghedy Parish YouTube channel. The death has taken place of Kathleen Friel, Gorton Avern, Coolboy, Letterkenny. Reposing at her home from 2 o'clock this afternoon. Funeral service there on Friday at 11, with cremation at 5 in Lakelands Crematorium in Cavan. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to the Stroke Unit, Medical 4, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. And the death has occurred of Eileen Nellie Daly, née McDermott, Glasgow and Rough Park, Letterkenny, formerly of Termon. Reposing at her late residence in Rough Park, Letterkenny, from 12 noon to 10 p.m. today. Rosary nightly at 9 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 in the Church of the Irish Martyrs, Letterkenny, followed by burial in the family plot in Newleck Cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed live on the Church of the Irish Martyrs YouTube channel. House private, please, before the funeral. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of Con MacDade, Funeral Directors. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Okay, you're very welcome back.
Yeah, we're good mates, yeah. Look, I'm always there for him, 100%. through thick and thin. And sure, he likes having me around. Anytime he's going out, I'll get the shout, you know. And someday, I'll probably kill him.
Smoking isn't the friend you think it is. Quit for 28 days and start taking back control. Find out how at quit.ie or free phone 1-800-201-203.
Sorry,
from the HSE.
I'm so excited. I keep speaking over the outbreaks. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Sorry to the HSE there. You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. Your eagle-eared listeners might be able to hear percussion in the background. That's Boy M5 warming up for their live performance a little later on in the programme. Just to remind you, you can stay in Radio Land. We love to have you there. It's the most important, of course, but if you want to hop on and watch it, you can do so on our YouTube channel, Highland Radio Ireland, or Facebook channels as well. A caller says, how much of our insurance premiums go to fund claims against uninsured drivers? Well, there is a levy on that, all right. I can find that out for you. It's public information. A caller says this ideology of more than two genders needs to stop, and men saying they're a woman or vice versa needs to be stopped. They need psychological help, not sex change, or refer to them as pronouns. A caller believes that to be silly, but I suppose unless maybe it's someone in your house or how you might feel, how might you deal with it then? Obviously, if it's something that doesn't impact you, everyone would love the status quo to be, just the way their life actually is. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, but that's just not the reality. Enoch Burke's sister manhandled and pushed to the pavement by that Garda yesterday. If you or me done that to someone, we would be up for assault. About time people get out on the streets in support of these people. Where does it lead? Who will be next to get this treatment? Teachers stand up. You heard from the Irish Council for Civil Liberties there and their spokesman's take on this. I mean, at what point, though, does it matter whether or not you respect the courts? A caller says, I'm now paying half the insurance premium that I was paying 10 years ago, so some things have changed, thankfully. Indeed, my insurance premium is probably 30% cheaper than it was a couple of years ago. Votecast, fantastic facility, very simple to vote. Well done to you. We really appreciate it. That's backing the Donegal, the Bluestack Foundation. Don't confuse psychotherapy and psychology. Psychotherapists are regulated, whereas psychologists are not. My bad if I did do that, and I will definitely correct that. Sorry, I must have misheard, and I must have confused there. Would never be my intention, and I'll be much more careful in future. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Back to the Enoch Burke and family court appearance. If the Garda were as good as getting the Kinahan gang and their supporters as they are kicking the Burke family out on the streets, they might be a safer place to live. To prevent any misunderstanding or false accusations, the government should publish the number of Dáil representatives who are landlords. We'll leave that with me. I'll put that to one side. We'll dig that info out. Let me see here now. I think it's a disgrace the way the Burkes treated both by courts and guards. Throwing a woman to the ground I thought was abusive behaviour. It didn't make for pretty viewing, but I said that before anyone texted into the programme today. I said that there were some scenes yesterday I was not comfortable watching, regardless of people's points. The courts are directed by the government of the day, believes a caller. Shocking the behaviour of the guards yesterday. Enoch's sister being knocked over by one of them. Fit them better. Go after the real criminals. Any other views out there? A lot of support for them today. I'm sure there are others not so supportive that have their views as well. We want to hear all different types of views. I think really what happened yesterday will strengthen the support of the Burkes, though, because, as I say, a lot of people might not like to see that happening. But anyway, it's a complex issue. If someone wanted to get their name changed, do they have to get it changed on their birth cert too? They can pursue that and get that done. There is new rules coming in as it relates to a piece of paper that will recognise a name. I'm not sure if that means then that it has to also be changed on the birth cert. I don't know the ins and outs of it, to be completely honest with you. Right, okay, let us take the bingo numbers now and a break. We'll be back with more shortly.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday the 8th of March. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S8. It's game number 10. The numbers are 6, 62, 2, 67, 34, 41, 9, 1, 65, and finally 49. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual office address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save your business hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 7187 8077 for more details.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Householders and building owners in areas susceptible to wildfires are advised to cut back or remove any vegetation or other combustible material in the vicinity of their house, building or oil tank to prevent wildfires damaging or destroying their property. Cleared areas should be maintained free of vegetation and combustible material. Donegal County Council would like to remind landowners and members of the public that under the Wildlife Act 1976 and 2000, it is an offence to cut, grub, burn or otherwise destroy any vegetation growing on any land not then cultivated between the 1st day of March and the 31st day of August in any year. Landowners are also reminded that under the Waste Management Regulations 2023, the burning of agricultural waste is currently prohibited. Donegal County Council, protecting your environment.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Okay, there were almost 1,300 calls to a helpline last year about children being poisoned with paracetamol, I beg your pardon. There was also hundreds of calls about them consuming household products like washing up liquid and firelighters. We're joined on the programme now by Donegal GP Kieran O'Farry. Good morning to you, Kieran. Great to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Greg. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Now, I think last year I did a couple of interviews on promoting this phone line, and lots of other radio stations and papers, I'm sure, are doing the same. Are people becoming more aware of this number and they're calling it, or are maybe us guardians and parents letting our guard down a little bit and not ensuring children don't have access to this type of stuff?
Yeah, there's a bit of both. I think there is a bit more awareness out there. The public helpline was set up in 2011 and it's available from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night for any member of the public to ring and get free advice if they feel that their child has taken something that they shouldn't. And it's available for healthcare professionals then 24 hours a day. So if there's a problem outside those hours, if you contact your GP or out of hours or emergency department, they can make arrangements for you.
I mean, paracetamol and ibuprofen calls, let's put them into the same category because I imagine they're left sitting in the same place, really, probably. We're close on 2,000 calls last year on those two items alone. What's happening, do you think?
Yeah, I suppose they're very commonly given to young children, and sometimes to try and coax children into taking them, we tell them that it's maybe sweets or obviously they've got a nice flavour. So sometimes then children take them for other reasons. So I suppose the important thing there is prevention, and make sure if you have paracetamol or ibuprofen around for your child that you've got the right age category. So if you've got the bottle of paracetamol that's suitable for a child, they shouldn't, if they ingest that, it shouldn't cause them too much harm. Whereas if they take paracetamol for, say, an over 6 or an adult, then obviously that's a higher strength and it's more likely to cause them harm.
We don't see many paracetamol in a box now anymore. Ibuprofen the same, and we'll move on to other stuff in a moment. But like, how many would be harmful to sort of what age of a child, I wonder, whereby some sort of medical intervention is required?
Yeah, I suppose if you look at the smallest bottle of Calpol or paracetamol, in 5 mils of that, there's 125 milligrams of paracetamol. In one adult tablet, there is 500 milligrams. So 2 or 3 tablets of adult paracetamol is probably the equivalent of a full bottle of children's Calpol. So I suppose it doesn't take very much to cause problems in smaller children, and it's very much age dependent and weight dependent.
So before we move on, in cases of suspected consumption of those items, what do we do? What's I mean, obviously the number is there, and I'll get, if I don't have it to hand, maybe you do, but I'll grab it. But what do? We suspect that, there's 3 or 4 paracetamol gone out of a packet.
Yeah, I suppose, as you said, the number there, it's 01809 2166. And first thing, I suppose, if you think your child is poisoned, is to stay calm. Take whatever they have away from the child so that they can't take any more of it. If it's been eaten, try to make them spit it out and check inside their mouth if there's any left, and if there is, try and take it out. Never make your child vomit. I suppose that's one of the most important things to get out there, is that you shouldn't try to make your child vomit, because that can sometimes cause more harm than good. And then obviously try and gather some information. So, if you have a look at, we often get calls and it's like, I'm not sure what they've taken. I found them with the packet. I don't know how many was in it. So try to gather that up, and either, if you can, call the poisons helpline, or if that's not an option, your GP, your out of hours service, or your emergency department. And those services are well used to dealing with parents and queries, and they've got the necessary information available then to decide whether it's an issue or not.
Yeah, I've got these protectors on the cupboards, but there's one of them that's broke off, and it's been off for about a week, and I'm going to go home this afternoon and sort it out, because it's really serious. I don't think any parents or guardians do this stuff on purpose. We're all really, really busy, aren't we, Kieran? And it's just letting our guard down for that split moment, really. We do our best to protect our children, but sometimes we just let our guard down, as I say.
Absolutely. And, most of these are accidental ingestions. A few important things, I suppose. Most of them, 80%, happen in children under 4. So that's the dangerous age group. Most of them tend to happen between 4 and 9 in the evening. So after kids come home from school or creche and we're at home, or the weekends and school holidays. And most of them happen in the home environment. So whether that is in the child's home, grandparents, a childminder, that kind of scenario. And you said there's a few small things that we can all do to try and reduce it. Don't take things out of their original containers. Make sure that if things have childproof caps, that they're closed. Keep things in their original containers. Have locks on cupboards, as you mentioned there. Don't refer to medicines as sweets, so that we're trying to coax them into it. And if you take medication yourself, try not to take it in front of the children, as they often copy adults.
Yeah, and a new one on the list, I imagine, compared to, pre-COVID, is hand cleaner, hand sanitizer. I presume it's the same stuff. Or maybe this is aloe vera hand cleaner. I don't know, hand cleanser. But anyway, where there's more liquid product in the house now than there might have been in the past. And also, and I don't know why they look so bloody tasty and attractive, dishwasher tablets and dishwasher tablets was the other one. Yeah, washing tablets. You know what I mean? They're a lot of them maybe just have them sitting down beside the washing machine or under the sink.
Absolutely. And 2 other things that the National Poison Centre have highlighted are essential oils and reed diffusers. And that's something that I've come across personally in my own house and as a doctor. So, these things that people often leave in the bathroom or the hall with sticks coming out of it, trying to diffuse a nice smell. I feel like you're in my house, Kieran. I'm literally have a list to do now when I get back. But you know what? That's what's so valuable about these conversations, because maybe some out there do, but some of us, you can't think of everything all the time. It never crossed my mind that diffuser that you talk of. Now, I don't have one that's within reach of the baby, but you know what I mean. It's still to double check everything. So go on. What else were you going to mention there? Yeah, there was 134 calls in 2021 about those reed diffusers alone. Other things are multivitamins. So obviously we give children little gummy vitamins, and they're designed like sweets to try and make them more attractive to children. And some of them that I see myself don't have very good childproof locks. So it's important to treat them as medication and not as sweets, and not leave them lying around for children to take a lot of them.
I'm not sure it falls into the same wheelhouse here, but batteries is a big one too as well, particularly the little batteries. They have screws on them now with a lot of the toys, but those screws always put back in. Also, you buy those flat batteries, for some reason they multi-sell them often. There's about 14 of them. You use one, and you probably throw the rest in the bottom drawer where the plastic bags are in the kitchen. Again, curious mind, a wondering mind, exploring could very easily come across those. Those can be pretty harmful as well. Particularly, I think the flat ones are more sweety looking and easier to digest or ingest.
Absolutely, and I think that's the key. It's things that children see that look like other things, that might look in the shape or the size of things that they can ingest. So, it can be anything out there really, and I suppose that's it. As you said, most toys now have screws at the back, but it's sometimes where we store them ourselves, and there's often that press underneath the sink that we keep lots of dangerous things in. So it's important, if you have dangerous products, bleach, detergents, cleaners, to try and keep them up high and out of a child's reach,
and ensure that the top is put on correctly as well too, rather than just thinking you'll do it later. And that number, again, you might give it to us again. I think that's a number with anyone with young ones in the house, or young ones that come over visit, particularly because, as you say, granny and granddads or aunts and uncles, may not be quite as used to double checking everything. To have that number on the fridge or somewhere close to hand, because it's a panic situation as much as we try not to panic, Kieran.
Yeah, absolutely. So the number again, 01809 2166, and the National Poison Centre have two very good posters which I might send you a link to, and maybe you could put them on social media.
No problem at all.
And it gives some very simple but very relevant advice for parents and guardians.
Yeah, okay. And you get calls as well. I mean, we're talking here about numbers that end up, I presume doctors as well have access, you mentioned that already, to this number. But I mean, it's common enough that you would get calls to the surgery about things like this.
It is, yeah. So of the helpline calls about children, 50% are from parents and guardians, and the other 50% are from GPs and hospitals. They also come from places like the ambulance service, schools and creches can call. So that helpline is open to anybody during those hours. So 6,490 calls about children in 2021. So it's a fairly common occurrence, and thankfully there were no deaths associated with any of these poisonings in children, but overall of the calls made to the Poison Centre, 11 of those unfortunately did result in a fatality in older people.
Oh no, yeah, the awful and having to deal with that. Okay, it's very sad. Okay, Kieran, thanks so much for helping us to spread the word. Really important. I appreciate your time. Great to have you on the show again.
Thanks very much.
All right, okay, that's Kieran O'Farrell, Donegal GP there. 086 60 25,000. Your WhatsApps and texts that number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. This is the 9 till noon show. It's Wednesday, middle of the week already. St. Patrick's Day next week, is it? 15th, Friday, 16th, 17th. Okay. It's a long weekend for some. Others, it will be an absolute nightmare busy weekend, depending on where you're working and what you're doing, of course. But anyway, we'll get this week out of the way first. We'll get this show out of the way. In this hour, in fact, we've got Boy M5 performing live. You might be able to hear them slightly in the background as they sound great, by the way. PFL's a little bit here, and they're sounding brilliant. They are our third of our 4 finalists for this amazing competition we've got running. All 4 finalists have already won a good prize, by the way, in terms of financial prize. But one of them, one of the 4 this week, will go forward to represent us. That's all of us, by the way, not Highland Radio per se. Will represent us at a national competition. I think we're in with a real chance of winning it this year with the artists that we have. Boy M5 today, Midnight Preachers tomorrow, and then we'll announce how you can vote from Thursday onwards. And we have external judges as well, by the way, so it's not someone I like. So if I said, I like such and such, or if Jimmy and Paul, who helped select the finalists, says, we really like that, but it's not. We have external judges that will make that call. And also it'll be combined with your vote. So we are going to be finalising an act that really has that broad appeal from judges and you as well. So Boy M5 coming up, they're going to sing 2 songs for us, and they sound great, as I mentioned. Just to remind you can watch that performance live on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, or on Facebook as well. All right, let's take a break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate holiday loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
High House to Home Bridgend, Donegal. Our modest front door opens onto 2 floors of Irish-made furniture, suites, beds, mattresses, dining and occasional furniture. Step into our showroom and see how we can transform your house into a home. House to Home furniture, flooring, slide ropes and interiors, Bridgend, Donegal.
Sabrina Robb here from Donegal Hearing Clinic. If you're struggling to hear everyday conversations or find it difficult to understand people in a crowded room, you may have hearing loss. Problems like these are common and we're used to helping people resolve them. We offer hearing assessments and will discuss your options. You can call us on 074 91 88 470 or visit donegalhearingclinic.ie. Life sounds brilliant with Donegal Hearing Clinic, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
Not sure where to start with your smart meter? Sign up to a Home Electric Plus smart meter price plan from Electric Ireland to see how much energy your appliances are actually using. Track your usage monthly, daily or even hourly and get tips and advice on how to use less. It's a smart start to controlling your energy usage. To sign up, search Electric Ireland Home Electric Plus. Smart meter and online account required. Features available after 4 months. T's and C's apply. See electricireland.ie.
Highland Radio are going to Scotland from Monday the 1st of May to Thursday the 4th of May with the very best of music, and we would love for you to join us. Staying at the 4-star Crown Plaza Hotel in Glasgow, we are bringing with us some of the biggest country stars, including myself, David James, Declan Ernie and Robert Mazzell, to name a few. You will enjoy luxury travel to Glasgow, 3 nights dinner, bed and breakfast with music and entertainment each evening. Join us on the Highland Fling to Glasgow this May for only €575 per person. To book, call Highland Radio today on 074 91 25,000. Early booking is advisable. Single supplement applies.
Okay, let's get to some of your comments. A caller says, to prevent any misunderstanding or false accusations... I keep reading that same message over and over again. My apologies. Is there any age limit on buying products like paracetamol? I know my niece took... an addiction on it, and despite being under 16, she could purchase them without question in shops and pharmacies. Well, she shouldn't. It's over 18s only, and I have seen people refused access to them at that age. Could the increase in children eating household products be related to the rising cost of living, lack of food in house? Youngsters would nibble on anything when hungry. I'm not saying it. I don't think it's contributed to it. Is it going to be a factor at some level? I think we'd have to say yes. Hi, Greg. A total disgrace the way the Burke family were treated by Garda yesterday. Unbelievably. Totally support Enoch Burke. It's time more teachers took a stand. This man is not a criminal. He has a right to stand up for his beliefs and views like everyone else. Enough is enough. But you see the fundamentals of it. I don't mind having the conversation, all right. But we don't, of course, because we're having it. But he was not asked not to stand up to his beliefs. There was a process that was triggered by the school to discuss his concerns as it relates to referring to the student by a different name or as they. And he was not happy that there was going to be a process to do that. It angers to me to see this type of intolerance being preached in the name of Christianity. Jesus' message was one of love and not hatred. He'd be ashamed of the horrible things people do in his name. Hi, Greg, this gender naming is nonsense. That would be like me saying I'm not Irish, I'm Spanish, which would be totally wrong. Listen, that happens too. But it's about how you feel, and the fact that you look into the mirror and what you feel is not what you see. Good morning, Greg. Can you say hello to the 2 girls who were starstruck yesterday in Letterkenny Shopping Centre when they saw you? They were too shy to ask for a selfie. Come on. You're having a laugh. Yeah, right. Well, listen, if you want a selfie, no problem. But I doubt they were too starstruck looking at me. Can you say a big hello to Alana, who seen you yesterday but wouldn't say hello? What's going on here? Caroline, are you doing this as a wind-up? Come on, are you having a laugh? If anyone, you can say hello. I love chatting, by the way. So I can't imagine anyone would be looking for a selfie. That's quite embarrassing, actually. Right, okay. Is it time to chat to Boy M5? I think it may well be. Oh, you've got your headphones on. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for entering, and it's great to have you on, guys. How are you getting on?
All good. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. Right, Boy M5 is Kyle O'Neill, Paul Mooney and Aaron McCallion. Tell us a bit about yourselves.
So Boy M5 started as a solo act, and then last April we got together, joined forces, and it's now become the powerful three-piece that it is.
And things have moved on really quite quickly for you, haven't it?
Rapidly.
Yeah,
rapidly. We've done... Any other band I was in would have taken a couple of years to do some of the things that we've...
And what do you think that's down to? Do you think you've just got the right combination and the right music at the right time?
I think sometimes certain people together will just really gel, and I think we have that. I always joke that I know I can just look at the lads and they know what I'm thinking during a song.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that we've gelled really well.
Yeah, and I've also too. I think the market is just mad for something like what you're putting out there. Does that make sense? And homegrown as well.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have to import everything. We can do it here.
I think Ireland has some of the best musicians in the world. Definitely the best songwriting.
And you have played in the Nerve Centre.
Yeah.
And there's some fantastic acts have gone before you in there. What's that like?
The Nerve Centre is phenomenal. We played there at the end of December with another band from Derry called the Vengro, and sold out venue, and it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was a core memory now for all of us, I think.
Yeah, and as I've said to the previous two acts, Kyle, is that, you know, you guys are already doing it. You're already making a name for yourselves. This is just another opportunity to, as you know yourself, you just get it out there as much as you can.
Take every opportunity you can get.
Yeah, and hopefully whoever wins goes on and gets lots of airplay. Is it tough getting airplay? Is that still as important, I wonder?
It's absolutely as tough. I think the market's saturated, but there's a lot of stations that aren't playing as much homegrown stuff. You guys are really good for it. You have, you know, the specialist shows, and I know all the DJs here are very up for local music, but a lot of the other stations around the country aren't like that.
It just takes a little bit of testicular fortitude, let me put it like that there, because they're playing Dermot Kennedy. Dermot Kennedy is great, but it's playing it safe. It's saying, right, we can satisfy maybe some quotas here by playing, you know, because everyone's looking at the listenership figures.
But even like
but
Hosier,
people are
when
moving
Hosier
away
first
from
came
radio
out,
to Spotify.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point reacting 5 years' time when you wonder where all your listeners are.
Yeah.
Be at the front of it. Be behind these acts, not sort of chasing them.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
it's the same with Hosier. When Hosier first came out,
That's it.
was all over that, and I don't think I've heard a Hosier song in a very long time now.
Yeah, all right, okay. What's the future hold for you, do you think? Like, what's the summer? Because, I mean, you are going to be in big demand in the summer. There's just no doubt about that.
Yeah, summer, we are playing some music festivals in the summer. We are currently embargoed and not allowed to say which until they do the announcement.
Well, that means it's not a festival in my back garden.
Yeah, it's, it's one of the biggest festivals in the country.
Wow.
We got the call last week to tell us that, so it's been a good couple of weeks for us.
Brilliant. And I won't jeopardise that in any way, shape or form by probing you with any more questions, but suffice to say this is another big step on your journey.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
That's fantastic. And is that a full set?
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Right, Camille, we'll tell a bit more. You're going to do 2 tracks.
Yes.
The first one's St. James. Tell us a little bit about this one.
St. James it's kind of a song about no matter what's happening in the world and, you know, how bad things are, as long as you have someone with you that you care for, then you can just sit by the fire while the world goes down in flames.
I get you. Brilliant. All right, let's listen to it. This is Boy M5. They're Kyle O'Neill, Paul Mooney and Aaron McCallion, and they are, just no doubt about it, they are going places, and we're absolutely delighted to have them as part of this competition.
There's a storm that's growing, feels like you can't get in. It always feels like it's snowing, and my mind is wearing thin. Now the lights are burning down in the devil's pit, and though the world keeps turning, I wish I could stop it. Faith, open desire, lost with the meaning of your name. Just sit by the fire as the world gets down in flames. Faith, open desire, lost with the meaning of your name. Just sit by the fire gotta know that I love you. I just can't love me. And though it's all that I'm yearning, it's just the way it's gotta be. You know I can't make decisions. I've never had to make them before. And now the end of the world is near. I found what I'm looking for. Faith, hope, and desire, lost with the meaning of your name. Just sit by the fire as the world gets down in flames. Faith, hope, and desire, lost with the meaning of your name. Just sit by the fire as the world gets down in flames.
Everybody listening out there in listener land this morning, I don't care if you're in the car, I don't care if you're at work, I want to hear you singing along to this. That's what I need you to do.
That is St. James there by Boy M5. Carl, I didn't know how you were going to recreate that sound, such a big sound, in this environment, but you did. That sounded absolutely awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, it really was cracking. That was St. James there. Right, already you're getting great feedback from people in the industry, Boy M5. Yes. Kyle, how important is that, or are you a fans man? Is it really is it your fans that you really, it's their feedback that's most important to you?
Yeah, I've always found that, you can get all the industry feedback you want, and, you can have people come up to you at gigs and say, really love what you did with that chord, or that beat was great, but there's nothing like someone coming up to you and saying, this song got me through a really hard time, or this song really meant something to me at a particular time. Yeah.
Did that come with the process? You didn't go into it, did you, sort of hoping to reach people like that? Was that like a byproduct of it that you thought, wow,
I guess
I'm
writing
touching
songs,
people here?
Generally, songwriters always say, the song means something else to me, but if I can make it that it means something to you in a particular situation, that's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's where we're coming from with it.
Right. Is this the earliest gig you've ever done?
Today?
Yeah.
Is this the earliest we've done?
As
we
a
did
band?
one for RTE in the RCC during the summer. They were filming that, and that was quite an early one as well.
Right, we'll go live if it's the earliest live gig you've ever done. And before we hear Mountains, which is, again, it's a really good song. It's so catchy, you know what I mean? Which is, real on the first couple of plays, it's in your head there, which I presume as a songwriter, that's what you're looking to do. And then you can sort of listen to it more and get more of the meaning and to go on the journey. But you just want it to be instantly relatable and to be an earworm.
Yeah.
All right. What about upcoming gigs? Anything in the meantime? We know there's exciting things coming in the summer.
We are doing a lot of recording and stuff at the minute and just preparing an even longer set because we've now been asked to do some longer sets. So we're doing a lot of work on that and, you know, with the hope that the exciting things will come after that.
Yeah,
Build it
sure.
and they will come, so to speak.
It's amazing. It's just in that wave of momentum at the moment. And it's only going one way, and that's up. All right, that's brilliant stuff. So let's listen to Mountains. I want to thank you, Carl, Paul, and Aaron for calling in and for producing such a brilliant sound for us. And we're really looking forward to hearing Mountains now. So whenever you're ready. Thanks very much indeed. All right, this is the last song. This is the song that's entering the competition or has entered the competition. This is Boy M5, Carl, Paul, and Aaron. And this is their live take on that track you've been listening to, and this is called Mountains.
Can we get the click just a second?
All right, no problem. Just while they're setting up there, I'll remind you that we've got one more act for you tomorrow. It is the Midnight Preachers. They're going to be playing live for us, 2 tracks again, and then after that we're going to announce the winners. So I think the boys are ready.
Keep talking, Greg.
No, keep talking. All right. Okay. I probably shouldn't have spoken to them in between tracks, but anyway, I'll keep talking. This is what I get paid to do. So what I'll say to you is that after we hear from the Midnight Preachers tomorrow, we'll give you the information as to how you can vote, and we're going to make it as simple as possible, so as many of you can vote as is possible. Your votes then are combined with an...
I set on mountains for you. When I'll bribe you with the coffee to stay. You know I'd give my heart for that day. Give up my vices for you if you would agree to remain the one I get to see every day. Nothing so fragile, I'll ride into battle. I won't need help from above, for I'm aggressive with my love. A mind that is agile but starts to unravel. I know sometimes can take up being aggressive without love. Starting a chapter, mine's running faster. The words that I'll craft, it's like I never loved before. The heart was fractured, like an angel I've captured. Strive for the rapture, and I tear down mountains for you. 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 Tear down mountains for trying not to kill your demons, 'cause they're dragging you down. Oh, the good ones left our hometowns. Tried to scream, but then I realized I'm not making a sound. Yet you're still hearing me now. We're sinners and outcasts, ship going steadfast. We don't need help from above, for we regressing with our love. Breaking on forecasts, our foes have been surpassed. I know sometimes can take up being aggressive with our love. Starting a chapter, mine's running faster. The words that I'll cry on, so it's like I never loved before. The heart was fractured, like an angel I've captured. Strive for the rapture. I tear down mountains for you. 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 I swim the oceans for you. Whatever you need me to do, babe, I'll do it for you. I tear down mountains for you. I swim the oceans for you. Whatever you need me to do, it's Boy M5 on Greg Hughes. Tear down mountains for you. Tear down mountains for you. Tear down mountains for you. Tear down mountains for chapter, mine's running faster. The words that I'll cry on, sir, it's like I never loved before. Held a heart that was fractured, like an angel I've captured. Strive for the rapture, and I tear down mountains for you.
Well done, gentlemen. That was absolutely awesome. And I get anything now because my name was in it? Do I like? I can't. I've actually never had anything like that before.
That's a little free jingle for you.
I appreciate that. That's fantastic. Thanks. I wish you nothing but success, genuinely, and I hope the radio industry gets behind you because I think they're missing a trick if they don't start backing bands like you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So thanks very much. Thanks for being good sports. Thanks for coming in. And listen, I can't wait to hear this news you've got for the summer.
I said a mountains for you.
Okay, right, okay. You can't get enough of them. All right, gents, thanks very much indeed. That was Boy M5. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Again, not just saying it. Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, all 3 acts, different sounds, but all absolutely fabulous. And I can guarantee you another treat tomorrow. The Midnight Preachers, they are a top-class act as well. You know, we're not discovering unknown talent here. We are trying to get a national platform for bands and artists that we already know that are awesome, just hopefully with a view to capitalising on their success already and even maybe them going extra further, if that makes sense. It doesn't make sense, but I'm going to stick with extra further. All right, we'll be back with more after the break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
The perfect Mother's Day gift to see the one and only Tom Jones in Belfast. Join us as Highland Radio hit the road to see the timeless legend as he headlines Belsonic 2023, Friday 16th of June. Your trip includes luxury transfers, bed and breakfast in the 4-star Clayton Hotel Belfast and your standing ticket to the outdoor event. Contact us today on 074 9125,000 to see Tom Jones at Ormo Park, Belfast, Friday 16th of June.
Laptop, check. Spanner, check. Screwdriver, check. A career built around me? Check. Bring your best self to work every day with exciting heavy vehicle mechanic apprenticeship opportunities with Bus Éireann and Dublin Bus. We are leading the way in sustainable public transport, moving from fossil fuel to zero emissions. Join our team and help keep Ireland on the road to greener journeys. Enjoy a career that's built around you. To apply, visit careers.buseireann.ie today.
Local Enterprise Week is back, and 2023 is all about finding that spark to inspire you to start, grow or scale your business. Running from Monday the 6th to Friday the 10th of March, Local Enterprise Week is organised by Local Enterprise Office, Donegal. This year's events will stimulate creative thought, motivate action and encourage you to be brave in business. Booking is essential. To see the lineup of events and speakers and to book, visit localenterprise.ie/Donegal or call 07491 60735.
Forward Emphasis International, based in Mallinhead and Belfast, are actively recruiting for customer service advisors and experienced motor claims handlers with both in-office and hybrid opportunities available. Fully funded insurance and financial service qualifications delivering attractive career path opportunities are available. Please visit their website, forwardemphasis.ie, and apply via their careers page.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. From March 26th, Aer Lingus will operate a daily service to London Heathrow, providing onward connections to 80+ destinations worldwide. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, so today mainly dry with a fair amount of clouds, some sunny intervals, highest temperatures of 3 to 4 degrees with moderate to fresh easterly winds. That's the Met Éireann weather. I'm looking out through the window here, and certainly at the mountaintop in Letterkenny, the sun hasn't gone away all morning. Billy joins us on the programme now. Billy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you with us. Right, you are a born-again Christian, the same religion of the Burkes.
Yeah, well, I don't know what actually religion, but I know that he has the same beliefs as I would have for standing up for my principles, you know. And the main thing what I'm upset about is how the guards treated that woman, his sister, yesterday, like throwing her down just like a bag of rubbish, you know. Maybe. I don't know what started about. I mean, he has his principles, Burke. But at the same time, I think people should be listened to, and I just don't know the answer out of that. But I was upset by what that guard done yesterday.
Do you feel the Gardaí were too heavy-handed because it was not just her?
Because, I mean, I do honestly, because I'm on my own here and. I'm in the minority here. I'm not I'm still an Irishman, and but I'm in, as far as religion is concerned, like I'm in the minority, and I respect everybody and everybody's beliefs. But I would back the nurses there in the hospital, and if the same thing could happen, that you disagree with someone, they could fling you down the street. I have seen that years ago. How guards treated even neighbours of mine down here, you know.
Mm. You talked about feeling like a minority, Billy.
Yes.
Like, does it bother you? Do you feel isolated? I mean, like, to be honest with you,
I do because right. I'll tell you, when my young days there, I was doing a wee job cleaning up around the hospital. I was in a scheme then, and I was kept out in the rain all the time with the health board, you know. I was working through the HSE.
Well, that's, in fairness, that's going back a bit. We just have to be a wee bit careful, Billy, because we have to obviously with checks and balances. But you felt that you feel in your life you've been treated differently. Now, I remember in my school going days, you know, you'd be very conscious of different people's religion, but I know speaking to young people now, it doesn't seem to be as big a divisive issue now in this country as it might have been, you know, 20, 30, 40 years ago.
No, but I think if you have a Christian belief, it is. I mean, you're just told to either shut up and agree with the things that's wrong, you know. And I feel very aggrieved now that carry on. I mean, five or six patrol cars sitting outside a courthouse, and when I ring the guards here, I'm told that there's no squad car to come out, and I'm out here on my own living.
Yep. So, in other words, for certain issues, you believe the resources can be found.
Well, I believe that. I mean, if they were able to bring half a dozen guards or whatever yesterday to take couple of people out of a courthouse. I mean, it's going back to what I want. It's going back now to the same thing as when I was growing up. And both sides of the border, the minority was treated like nothing. And I mean, their beliefs wasn't listened to. And I mean,
yeah, there's an irony.
With every religion,
in what you're saying, Billy, there is an irony here because it is a minority with which Enoch Burke takes issue, in that, you know, it's individuals. I'm not trying to trap you or paint you into a corner, don't get me wrong, but I just think it's interesting that you talk of your treatment in your youth as a minority, and people not accepting you or respecting you. And that's kind of really the crux of what's got the Burkes into the situation they're in, that they don't wish to acknowledge or respect another minority group. But Billy, listen, I know you
respect everybody. But,
of course you do. I can get that from you.
You know, at the end of the day, I mean, I go to my wee church there, and I respect everybody. I have young Catholic friends. I ran about with them, and but to be treated that way, and I don't care what police force it is, either the force in Northern Ireland or here, I don't think anybody. I think if it was another situation, the guards would need to be held accountable, and I think that band Gardaí would need to be held accountable.
All right, well, Billy, listen, that's your view.
That's my opinion, but maybe other people mightn't agree with me.
But that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if other people agree. It's your opinion. I respect your opinion. That's why we brought you onto the radio, and I hope you don't feel as isolated as you did in the past.
I'm not ringing in to stir up trouble,
I get that.
I don't know very much about the Burkes or what that started with, but I think, you know, for the so heavy-handed, and I felt that years ago, the minority was treated here very, you know, there's a particular thing that happened to a neighbour down here, it wasn't in my own religion, but there was things happened, and because I didn't didn't give information. I was late on the guards.
Okay.
Took offence about it, you know.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
I got on well with all my neighbours.
That's good.
I don't. I'm not. I just lost all trust now after seeing that last night.
Okay. Well, listen, that's your feelings, and we appreciate you sharing them with us.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Billy. I do appreciate it, and it's good to have you on the programme, and not cutting across Billy, but when other individuals or organisations are brought in and certain accusations may or may not be made, we just have to be extra careful. But I think 99.9% of Billy's point there did come across. News is going to be about a minute late. Stay where you are.
We at Highland Radio love Irish music, and we want to show our support. Throughout Irish Music Month this March, in partnership with Hot Press Magazine, we're asking you to support the Irish musicians, artists and bands who make every party, every drive home and every day magic. That's right. To celebrate Irish Music Month on Highland Radio, we're asking you to support Irish artists and musicians by buying Irish albums, Irish tickets, Irish t-shirts and Irish music merch. Irish musicians have shown that they are right up there with the best in the world, so let's support them by buying Irish. Proudly supported by Highland Radio, Hot Press, IBI and the BAI Sound and Vision Fund.
Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring are 25 years old, and to celebrate we're offering up to 70% off across all tiles, wood flooring and bathware. And each week 25 lucky customers will win their order for free. That's right, for free. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring, up to 70% off birthday sale now on.
Lancôme's bonus time promotion is back at McElhenny's. Simply purchase 2 Lancôme products, 1 to be skincare, to receive a free gift of 7 beauty essentials. Plus, when you purchase a 3rd Lancôme product, receive a full-size bonus gift. Visit us in-store or shop online at mcelhennys.com to enjoy this exclusive offer, available until March 11th.
From coast to coast and top to tail, Ireland produces some of the best food in the world. And at Dunnes Stores, we're proud to offer it to you. Our locally sourced top quality cheeses like Goo Bean or Gert Namona are 3 for 2. Fresh vegetables like baby rooster potatoes from just 49 cents. And Board Bia quality assured meat like our centre cut ham range, now 20% off. Plus, you can save even more with our 10/50 grocery vouchers. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used next grocery shop with €50 or more.
Wake up, wake up. It's Mattress Madness at Easy Living Furniture with up to 50% off all mattresses, pillows and mattress protectors. With 0% interest-free finance available, now is the perfect time to gift yourself a better night's sleep with the mattress of your dreams. Speak to one of our sleep specialists today. Massive mattress sale now on, with all mattresses reduced in Easy Living Furniture. Presently at Retail Park or online at easylivingfurniture.co.uk.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie. The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, loads to come. Wellness Wednesday, Kieran in with business news, that and much more. But first, let's get a news update. We say good morning now to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The government has been accused of abandoning families to the mercy of energy companies. Donegal Deputy Pearse Doherty has once again told the Dáil that people right across the country are being crippled by high energy costs. The Dáil, meanwhile, has been told this morning that a better way must be found to fund school extensions and building projects. Deputy Joe McHugh says a number of projects in Donegal have been pushed back because of funding issues, and in the long term that means planning and other procedures will have to be replicated. The Northern Secretary of State says Northern Ireland's security threat level is being constantly reviewed. Last year, for the first time in a decade, the British government lowered it from severe to substantial. But the recent attempted murder of PSNI officer John Caldwell in Omagh has raised questions over whether the threat level should be raised again. A meeting of the Inishore Municipal District has been told the planning must begin to carry out much-needed resurfacing works on the N13. The route between Manor Roundabout and Bridge End is one of the busiest in Donegal. Councillor Paul Canning says the road is becoming progressively worse, leading to it being in a dangerous state. It's hoped contract documents for the Tusnua regeneration project in Carndonagh will be signed shortly. They were to have been signed on Friday last, but that was cancelled. Councillor Albert Doherty says it's important those documents are signed and the work starts as quickly as possible. The HSE has confirmed that all residents have returned to Carndonagh Community Hospital. It follows a €4.2 million refurbishment of the facility. A referendum on gender equality will be held in November, according to the Taoiseach. The decision to hold a ballot follows recommendations made by the Citizens' Assembly. It recommended the reference to a woman's place being in the home be removed from the Constitution. And another weather alert has been issued for Donegal. Met Éireann is warning of widespread icy stretches tomorrow night and into Friday morning, which may lead to hazardous driving conditions and travel disruption. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
OK, Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
The fines for 16 driving offences have doubled and could now cost you as much as €160. €160. That's enough for a brand new pair of runners, or some swanky headphones, or a year of streaming, or a nice meal out somewhere, or tickets to the theatre. Don't get fined. There are better things to spend your money on. For a full list of updated fines, visit rsa.ie. Always follow the rules of the road. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
OK, you're very welcome back to the programme. We're into the third hour of the show, and we appreciate all your texts and comments coming into us, and we'll read them as the morning progresses. Good morning, Greg. In relation to vehicles on our roads without insurance, that means that they have no vehicle road tax either, so you need to have your insurance up to date to tax your car. Thanks. That comes in from Charlie. Charlie, there are ways around that, because there are people who have cars that are NCT'd and taxed, but they aren't insured. But you're still legal to drive them under certain policies. It's actually quite complicated. Right, okay, let us focus now on our Wellness Wednesday. We welcome into studio Dr. Caroline Burrow, clinical psychologist at Northern Meadow Therapy. Thank you so much for joining us. It's good to have you with us.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for having me here.
And you're going to have to put a pair of headphones on, because also with us is Breege Ward, coordinator of Dunfanaghy Resource Centre. Good morning to you, Breege. It's good to have you with us. How are you keeping?
Not so bad at all. Yourself?
I am doing fine. Just trying to keep these balls in the air of one on Zoom, me here and Caroline there. But sure, listen, we'll fly through it. Okay. Shall we talk about a number of services that are going together to run a day for parents called The Gift of Resilience? Do you want to start us off on this, Breege?
Yeah, well, it looks like now we're going to have to postpone this event due to the weather.
Oh, no.
Weather.
But we can talk about it nonetheless, and then we'll flag the new date. But go ahead.
Yeah. So The Gift of Resilience is a conference for parents that's going to be at the Waterfront Hotel in Donegal. It was due to take place on Friday the 10th, this Friday coming. But it looks like we'll have to reschedule that now for the 21st of April. So it's an acknowledgement really that life can be difficult, and parents need time to refill their cup. But it's looking at resilience and the importance of resilience in children. And Caroline will talk about that, I suppose. I suppose it came about because there's an opportunity for funding came up from the HSE the National Forum of Family Resource Centres, who are the HSE Post Recovery and Resilience Fund. And that was for different things that might help children develop the resilience and help parents develop additional resilience post-COVID.
All right. Dr. Caroline Burrow, how do we improve resilience in our children without unnecessarily burdening them with the problems of life? Do you know what I mean? Because it comes at you hard and fast, right? So I could try my best to think I'm doing the right thing in preparing my children for all sorts of things, but could I be afraid that I might be planting seeds in their mind that they don't really have to contend with?
So resilience is accepting that these things happen in life, that unfortunately we can't avoid difficulties in life. So when we develop our children's resilience, what we're doing is we're preparing them, we're helping them to essentially bounce back from these difficult times that we can't avoid. So resilience itself is made up of a number of different factors. So things like self-awareness, self-confidence, things like
emotional regulation, emotional awareness, good support networks. So all of these things make up resilience. So it's about the individual and also about the community, the environment that surrounds them. So when we foster resilience in our children, what we're doing is we're preparing them to cope with all of these difficult
Right, so we're not
events that are gonna
necessarily
happen.
asking them to confront things that may happen, but we're tooling them up with the ability to
Yeah.
cope with the inevitability of them
Yeah.
happening. Well, it's not always inevitable, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And this is techniques, is it?
Yeah, so resilience is a combination of behaviours, of skills, of thoughts. And so what we can do is we can give our children opportunities and resources to develop resilience through these skills, through learning. So we often think that either we have resilience or we don't, but that's not actually true. It's a thing that we can develop and learn throughout our lives, and the earlier that we can begin to learn and develop this, the better. So there's lots of models of resilience, there's lots of psychological models, there's lots of models of resilience in children, and we're focusing on one particular model called the 7 C's of resilience. So we're looking at developing these 7 qualities of resilience. And we're going to try and do that through activities such as play, connection through nature, through parenting skills, through cultivating compassion for ourselves and others, and through embodied movement and body practices. So those are the things that the parents are going to learn on the day in order to help them develop these 7 C's of resilience.
Yeah, well, I think parents are going to learn things along the way here because, we're talking about fostering resilience in young people, but I think there's many of us that have gone through our childhood, our teenage years and into adulthood and still haven't learned those skills yet, and we might misname it as something else. We might just cope, we might just say that's the way life is, but we lack resilience.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, depending on our previous experiences, that we might have not have had the resources and the opportunities to develop some of these things. And the idea behind this particular day is that parents get to develop their own resilience skills. So one of the best ways that we have of teaching children is to model for them. So if we're more resilient as adults, we can model how to respond to life's difficulties. We model resilience, but also we're more capable of actively teaching these skills to our children if we're resilient as well.
Right, and before we go back to Breach, I hope this is not we're talking about the children, but talking about adults. I hope this is not a controversial question. But when we sort of talk about how people cope with an illness diagnosis or how they cope with bereavement, people go, everyone deals with bereavement differently, right? Is that what's actually happening, or is it actually our different levels of resilience that's dictating how we deal with these things?
So coping is part of resilience. So we may have our own coping strategies. Now, some of these coping strategies might be really helpful and some of these coping strategies might be unhelpful. And these are things that we've developed, that we've learned throughout the years, depending on our own upbringing, depending on the experiences that we've had. Now, as I say, some of these things might be helpful and some might be unhelpful. So when we think about resilience, we're looking at developing, amongst other things, helpful coping strategies to manage these difficulties that, as we said, we're not going to avoid during life.
Yeah. Okay. Breach, and obviously there's seen a gap here, and this is being done through the Dunfanaghy Resource Centre. And I think that, life comes at you very fast, particularly for us here in Donegal. And I think it is particularly for us here in Donegal because we know for a fact the incredibly negative impact both on physical and mental health. The mica crisis is, as it's known, the defective concrete block crisis, children having to live in that environment. We know we've got the lowest level of disposable income, one of the highest levels of poverty. We know we've had to speak to our children about the awful events in Creasla where it couldn't be brushed under the carpet. You have to have those conversations and those explanations. So I think even particularly in Donegal, but not uniquely, our very young people have been faced with, some real tough realities of our lives.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm going to go back and first and correct you that it's not just Dunfanaghy Family Resource Centre that's been involved in organising this. We've actually combined the resources of the 3 family resource centres, which are Meva Resource Centre and Down Strands as well. We've worked closely with our partner agencies in Donegal, like TUSLA, and with the parent partner, the PPSF, the parent partner support network in Donegal as well, to deliver this. But going back to resilience, So essentially, I suppose resilience is our ability to bounce back from adversity, but knowing how to cope in spite of setbacks or barriers or limited resources. So all those things you mentioned, are very much similar. So the ability, I suppose, is super important, right from the beginning of childhood. And it's a key component of mental health. So our ability to solve a presented problem as effectively as possible, I suppose. So it's I suppose you can look at some people. You talked about how people deal with it differently. And I suppose the characteristics of somebody who would have low resilience, they would overreact to normal stress, or they may have a lack of hope. But another person whose cup of resilience is filled, or they've got more bounce in their tire or their balls, so to speak, are much able to adapt. So they have more ability to adapt, of better coping strategies. And that's what it's all about, really.
And the better prepared our children are, Dr. Burrow, the better we are as parents, because, if you have to drive a car, you have to go through 12 lessons and all this type of stuff to operate heavy machinery. There's courses, the hoops you have to jump through to drive an Arctic. And yet here we are faced with the responsibility or dealing with having the responsibility of bringing a new person into the world and protecting them and doing the best for them. There's no rule book, and if there is a rule book, it'd have to be a different rule book for every bloody one of them. Do you know what I mean? So it's tough, like.
Yeah, of course. And I think the great thing about when we foster resilience in our children, when we try and help them develop it, that we're actually doing that in ourselves as well. So we're reinforcing our own resilience, and so it works both ways. And so the more a family can be resilient, the more that they're able to cope with these difficulties that unfortunately life throws at us. And as Breeze was saying, we know, and as you yourself were saying, we know that all these factors have been affecting our young people's mental health, and so it's really important at this time to kind of boost up resilience in families, because we know that these things are ongoing as well. We've got ongoing financial difficulties, ongoing global crises. These aren't going away, so it's really important.
I can't remember what it was. I'm sure it was, I don't know when the Cold War was, but anyway, I think it was when they were sending the tablets out, the iodine tablets or whatever, and I was a very young person at that point. But I didn't know how to deal with that as a child. What that meant, what was next, is mom and dad going to be okay? You know what I mean? And I didn't necessarily go to my parents and say, this is how I'm feeling. And even if I did, I'm not sure what they'd have even been able to say to me. But I spent a lot of nights on that issue and other issues lying in bed petrified. Absolutely petrified, and then trying to get up the next day and everything was okay. And there's still elements of that and other things in my childhood that still, you're not quite as well of coping with other things then as an adult, because it's a learned behaviour or whatever it might be. But and there's a new set of problems, Breach, for young people to worry themselves about.
Yeah, and life is not meant to be always good, and I suppose that's the thing. Sometimes when you look at social media, you think life should always be good, but it's not. There's always going to be pitfalls. There's always going to be good and bad.
But on that point, I think children now could be forgiven for thinking that there's no good, and we have to be careful of that too. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because I could see, I could see a lot of good, but everywhere a child turns, it's like the dangers of social media. Someone's going to pick you up in the street. Don't do that. Don't climb a tree. We don't know what's going to happen in Ukraine. Our houses are falling down around. Where's the space for a child to breathe and go, wow, all right, life's not that bad. Do you want to come in there? Caroline?
I think this is one of the beauties of the model of the 7 C's of resilience, because the 7 C's actually foster parts of resilience to manage that. So one of the things, for example, is competence. So it's teaching our children that they're capable of making decisions, that they're capable of overcoming life's problems. It's looking at confidence. How do we instill confidence in our children and our young people? It looks at connection. So how do we connect with others around? Because we know that if we have strong connections in peer groups, in family groups, in the community, that this fosters resilience. It also looks at things like contribution. So knowing that we can contribute to the world. So it's really easy for us to feel overwhelmed by everything that's happening in the world at the moment, by wars, by eco-anxiety, all of these things, the climate crisis. But by looking at how we can directly contribute, whether that's in a very small way or in a big way, then that gives us a sense of meaning in our lives. It helps us to manage these difficulties more. So we also look at coping directly, control. So it's about how do we teach our children that they do have some control. So again, it's easy for us to feel like we have no control. We're being told what to do. You know, we don't have control over what's going to happen. But we can teach our children that we do have some control over some aspects of our lives and that they can foster their own control and autonomy. But also the acceptance that sometimes we can't control everything. You know, sometimes things are out of our control. So by looking at these 7 C's, it's a really good model for looking at how do we then manage everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah, all right, okay, I think I want to go because I find it overwhelming too at times, you know. You mentioned the climate because even everything is, it's hard to counteract, right, the climate message that young people are getting to try and motivate them to motivate change, that effectively the world's going to end, right, okay? And that is to motivate them to follow people and to do the right thing. But it's a kind of a strange starting point that, you know, something has to be done or everything's going to end. It's not going to like that. But anyway. All right, Breach, by accident rather than design, people are going to have a greater opportunity to book a slot. April 22nd, you say. Has it been formally postponed from Friday or are you waiting to see the lie of the land, literally?
No, it has formally been postponed there now from 10 o'clock this morning. I spoke to the hotel and we've cancelled it there and we've rescheduled it for the 25th. Now, we do have a full house. It's sold out very, very quickly.
Good, okay.
But the 25th may not suit some now. So we'll, just after the show now, we'll go back into our emails and we will contact everybody that has booked in and we'll look to see if they want to reschedule. And then we'll know how many places are freed up, I suppose, for a second booking. Yeah.
Sorry, April 25th, you say it's rescheduled too?
Yes.
Okay, because I said 22nd. Okay, just want to make sure. Right, okay, listen, maybe we might even speak a little bit in more advance to that. It's a free interactive self-care day for parents of children aged 12 and under. It was due to be held on Friday. It's been deferred now to April 22nd as people might have holiday books or whatever it might be. Maybe some people might not be attending and that might free up some tickets. So who did you say where to check for that? Sorry, Breach, pardon my ignorance.
So just after the programme now, we'll go on and we'll look, and then we'll
you'll be contacting people and then decide what to do next.
Media. Yeah,
understood. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, Dr. Caroline. In between now and then, though, right, a lot of parents are listening to you and going, right, 7 C's sounds good, because we have to do something because we're seeing record levels of children under pressure through their mental health. So we have to be doing something. So. Even before April 25th, you know, can you signpost parents if they're interested in hearing more of what you've got to say?
Yeah, so there's great resources in the Donegal Parenting Network. I think Breach will probably have some some good local resources that people can contact. So the family resource centres have loads of good resources as well. And
they're not a closed shop; they're open, Breach, to everyone, and that's what they're there for. They're a community resource.
That's correct. Donegal Parent Hub is also a really good space for parents to go for information. But yeah, the resource centres are open to everyone, cradle to grave, so to speak.
Okay, listen, thank you very much indeed for your time, Breach. We do appreciate it, and we'll flag that event closer to the time as well. Dr. Caroline Burrow, clinical psychologist at Northern Meadow Therapy. People, presumably, if they're interested in Northern Meadow Therapy, they can Google that and they'll come across it.
Yeah, so I have a website and a Facebook page, and people are welcome to contact me via that.
Thanks for your time. Is there anything that you feel we should add, by the way, just things you...
I think that resilience can often feel like it's a really big thing. Do you know, it feels like a huge thing to develop, but there's lots of little really simple things that you can do to develop it. So, you know, just getting out in nature is a really helpful way, you know, just looking after your self-care, all of these things.
I think trusting the process as well, because I think sometimes people find it, even when you say 7 C's, it might go 7. You know what I mean? You know, like, I'm not saying it is like that, but sometimes you just have to trust the process.
And I think what we really want to come across from the day and from this as well is that it doesn't have to be a big thing, that there's opportunities every single day that you have to develop your children's resilience. So just like helping them to learn a new skill develops their resilience, helping them to label an emotion and speak about an emotion develops their resilience. So there's loads of practical ways that you can do it, that's free, that's easy, that you can do in your everyday activities. And that's the key to the conference, is that parents are going to come away with these ideas that they can slot into their lives really easily. And I think to remember that you're already doing it.
Yeah.
You know, we've survived so much in the
and
last
there's a lot of
few
positive.
years.
The world is a wonderful place. This is a wonderful country with wonderful people. And there's lots of greatness out there, right? You know, even when we're struggling, you talked about the outdoors. I mean, unrivaled friendship, you know, companionship. You know, there's
And
lots to be happy and positive about.
Yeah, definitely.
We can
those are
over-focus.
those are the things that are really fantastic about Donegal. You know, we have this wonderful access to the outdoors, that we have really strong communities here, and those are things that we know really foster resilience in people. So we're starting from a good point.
What's your favourite thing to do?
I like swimming in the sea.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of cold water therapy, so that's really good for mental health as well.
And I've spoken
do
to...
it safely, but...
Yeah, of course, but there are lots of organisations and groups that do it now, and I've spoken to a lot of people that say precisely what you've just said, that it's really beneficial to them. Listen, it's been lovely having you on. Again, we're talking about something now in the middle of April, or the end of April, rather than on Friday, but that is the weather, what it throws up to us. I'm sure if any spaces become available, Donfanaghy Resource Centre and the rest of the groups will let people know. But for now, Breach Ward, coordinator of Donfanaghy Resource Centre, and Dr. Caroline Burrow, clinical psychologist at Northern Meadow Therapy. Thank you. And we'll be back with more shortly.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
At Shannon Airport, we know what makes a dream holiday. It's not just the huge choice of destinations like Chicago, Paris, Newcastle, Naples, Barcelona and Porto. It's the hassle-free experience that makes getting through our airport a dream. So whatever dream holiday you're packing for, head for shannonairport.ie. Shannon Airport, making it easy.
Dillon's Hotel, Letterkenny, is the perfect place to celebrate special occasions. Dillon's exclusive function rooms cater for up to 120 guests for any occasion, from corporate celebrations, presentations and networking events, to milestone birthdays, anniversaries and retirement parties. There's audio-visual equipment, integrated PA systems and even a private bar. Dillon's Hotel, perfectly located in Letterkenny Town Centre with award-winning food and 5-star service. Call 91-22977.
Choose life. Choose fun. Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better. Something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 3rd. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 3rd to 19th March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
Are you building, rebuilding, or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest, Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2023. It will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Admission is free to this 3-day event from March 10th to March 12th. This ad is kindly sponsored by AIB Letterkenny.
All right, would you like to get your hands on a €100 Shop LK gift card? Well, I'm going to tell you just how to do that. They literally don't trust us, Caroline, anymore. It's written in front of me to say, well, I'm going to tell you just how to do that. But I appreciate the work. I'm not who's responsible for it. I'm not criticising anyone, all right? But they don't trust me anymore. But the real exciting part is that we've joined forces with Shop LK for our Shop Local with Shop LK campaign. All you have to do is take a selfie or a photo outside a business, a Shop LK business, tag Highland Radio and Shop LK on social media, any of them. Use the hashtag Shop Local Shop LK. I'll send you a photo to us and we can share it for you. It's simple as that. So if you're not on social media, our winner will be selected at the end of the month. Check out the social media pages for all info. So really, look, there's a €100 voucher in there, and it's to share the love, share the businesses. Shop LK vouchers are accepted pretty much everywhere as well. If none of that made sense, go on to our social media and it'll all make sense there. 086 60 25,000. we'll actually can go to our next guest now. Patricia. Good morning, Patricia.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. Right. What's the situation with you and your family, Patricia, that we're highlighting?
My child, she was referred to the orthodontist, the HSE services, back last March 22. She also was approved for cross-border funding, and I took that up and went to get an assessment at cross-border, but due to the extensive needs that she had with orthodontist services, they said they couldn't work with her and said that I needed to stay with the HSE. So intermittently now I've been making contact with the orthodontist services, and each time I'm getting a different answer. They have not resumed assessment since pre-COVID. So my daughter's sitting on a waiting list that's not moving, and she's on an urgent waiting case, so she should be one of the first people when the assessment does resume. But how many other children are sitting there that's urgent cases also? And I suppose I get a different answer each time I ring why they haven't resumed.
Now, this is time sensitive because the teeth are developing all the time. And I can only imagine, I'm not sure how much but you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but this is going to be very distressing for Mum, but for your daughter too. This is really...
Well, my child, she's sitting with missing 2 teeth at the minute. And like as a 13-year-old, your appearance is a massive thing for her. I was just listening to the Brazilians talk here before came on. I was thinking, she does have the bounceability and she's coping well with it, but I can see that she's stressed and she's having repetitive dreams about her teeth falling out, because that was another thing. Yeah. The HSE dentist had told her that one of the repercussions of not getting the work done soon was that she could lose her 2 front teeth. So she's having these repetitive dreams that she's losing all her teeth, and that's obviously her stress is coming through in these dreams, and that her. And she is, you can see a bit of a rise in her anxiety levels.
Listen, there's a limit to all of our resilience. No matter how resilient one is, it's going to wear you down. And also, I think for not only the physical work that needs to be done, but I think her well-being and her sleep and everything else that she has to do in life has to be considered as well. So let me just get to the crux of this. There is no cross-border option, so this work has to be done within the 26 counties through the HSE. So what are you not getting from the HSE that we can make inquiries on your behalf? An assessment, an appointment, the actual work?
They have to do an assessment. They have to do an assessment to find out exactly the work. Like, there was an assessment done in the north, but they just said to extend it as what she needs done. She's going to need a number of oral surgeries. So they said they couldn't take it on, that it was just too much for them as an orthodontist practice, that it would have to stay within the hospital setting. I've been told first on one of my first phone calls was that they just hadn't started because of since COVID. Then I was told there was a machine not working, and just yesterday I rang and they told me they didn't have the premises to actually do assessments. For me, the HSE obviously has numerous buildings, which they should be, because this is, it's an urgent enough situation.
But listen, let's run through the list. Let's run through the list here. COVID, come on now, seriously, that's a smokescreen. Yeah. We're not buying that one, are we, Patricia? Secondly, machine not working. For how long? Since when? I mean, that's unacceptable if that's the case as well.
That's going on for months now.
Exactly, and no premises as well. The HSE have got an awful lot of property, so I'm not buying that either. Right. I don't know if this would be through a GP or your own dentist. Has any letters been sent pressing the urgency of this, like from a GP talking of not only the importance of from a physical perspective, but the emotional impact?
No, I haven't actually gone down that route, but that would be my next avenue. My GP, right. I would be looking for the GP to actually intervene. Yeah. It was the dentist, the HSE dentist, that referred her, and he did then the urgency for the needs for her needs that she has, that she would need to get it done. That it's right. She's aware that it's going to take a long period of time for her work to be done and to be finalised and for everything to be okay. and she's all right with that. But I think it's getting it started.
All right, okay. The
Getting
assessment,
the ball
because you know what? If the first step is taken, maybe any further delays can be more manageable, but the process hasn't even begun yet. This is like waiting for a passport, but the passport application's not even in the post
That's
yet.
exactly it.
Right,
and,
so,
I would have no issue travelling to Sligo.
Yeah,
if
course,
the service is addicted, issue going where the service is. You do anything for your child, and that's it.
how long has she been waiting on an assessment now? Yeah, Patricia, just for clarity in my
She
mind.
was referred in March 22.
Oh, right, okay. So we're in a year in now. I think you've shown extreme patience here. And I think you've been pretty fair to the health service saying, right, okay, maybe it's tough to get things back up and running again, but we're in no excuse territory now. She shouldn't still be waiting.
No.
Okay. Right, let us make inquiries on your behalf as much as we can. And we'll start with the basic one. Why is it taking a year for a simple assessment? Surely it's not COVID. How long has this machine been broke, when it's going to be fixed? And what are you on about with no premises? Not you, Patricia, whoever's been speaking to you. Leave that with us, okay?
Yeah.
And hopefully there's some progress, because this, as you say, we can't exhaust this, your beautiful young girl's resilience any further. She needs to be in the process now, so she's got a light at the end of the tunnel to look forward to.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay, well, Patricia, we're
Thank you very much,
with you on this one, and we wish you nothing but speed in getting this sorted. All right, we'll see what we can do. All right, thank you very much indeed. I mean, can't make any commitments, but who is to say that inquiries might not progress things? That's all we can sort of hope to achieve there. Right, okay. We are going to take a break. It's scheduled now, and we have Kieran waiting in the wings with business news and a preview of the Highland Radio Business Matters podcast. It's live for you now, and it'll be broadcast on Sunday. But I've just been informed, by the way, and I understand that the event on Friday in Donegal was only cancelled on at 10 o'clock because of the weather, and it's being rescheduled to April 21st, not 25th. But as I say, it's fully sold out at this point, or not sold out, but it's full. And we'll let you know if any places become available as the organisers email people that were due to be there.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
The world is getting a little more. But maybe more could mean something else. More means more proactive green energy solutions. More means more wind turbines and more recycling. More means more biodiversity and more energy storage. More means more hydrogen and more solar farms, because more clean energy means more efficient living, means more thriving communities, means more energy autonomy. That's why we're more than Mona. Learn more at morethanmona.ie. Board na Mona.
Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure have all the equipment you need to get fit this year. Recover from the toughest sessions with foam rollers and massage guns, or find your flow with the latest yoga mats and blocks. Get free next day delivery on orders over €85 at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Sleek, smooth, safe, modern. Oh, you want to hear more? Do you want to drive the most modern car in Donegal? There's a reason why it's our county's favourite car. The brand new diesel Kia Sportage, the multi-award-winning SUV, is available at iMotors now. Our team will take care of all of your needs. Visit imotors.ie or call in to us today, because how you feel when you drive is important to us.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who are unable to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Get ready for the all-new Pulse venue with state-of-the-art sound and light, and all-new decor. Reopening Saturday 18th of March with the Whistling Donkeys. Tickets on sale now. See Pulse Letterkenny on Facebook for updates.
Business Matters in association with ATU Donegal's Faculty of Business. If you're an owner or manager in a food production business, consider the new 1-year Level 8 Higher Diploma in Food Business and Product Innovation. It's just one 3-hour lecture weekly. Call 9186600 or email gary.mcgill@atu.ie.
Okay, it is Business Matters time with Kieran O'Donnell, presenter of the podcast. Kieran, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
I see a major problem before we even get started here.
Yes.
But anyway, we'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right, that's all right.
We'll start with some news.
Yeah.
We've stumbled upon the problem immediately.
Yeah.
Is that Lahey?
Yeah.
Now, there is some controversy as whether or not there's an E in Lahey, but there's definitely a G, Kieran.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, carry on with the good news.
You've got the wrong script, Greg. O'Donnell's Bakery in Lahey has been awarded the prestigious Food Safety Assurance Accreditation. Since joining the Super Value Food Academy, production in O'Donnell's Bakery has doubled, creating 20 new jobs in the process. So overall, Greg, a total of 19 facilities and businesses across Ireland received accreditation under the scheme that is being run by Food Safety Professionals Association.
What a great company, in terms of achievements, but employment as well. There's so many different industries employing so many different people, but it doesn't always, you don't realise it until you hear it read out from you like that, Kieran.
Yeah, and look, I suppose one of only 19, and obviously there's a very strict criteria. It's a real good badge of honour for the business to sort of wear now, and obviously promote and maybe increase business.
All right, now applications are open for the LEO programme.
Yeah, applications have opened for Scale X, a Donegal Local Enterprise Office Accelerator programme that gets underway in April. Donegal Scale X will target startup entrepreneurs with the potential for fast growth in a range of sectors. The deadline for applications is Monday, March the 27th. So the plan is for 12 businesses to be selected for the programme. That will commence on April 19th and it runs for 11 weeks. And for more information, check out Donegal Local Enterprise Office.
All right, okay, yeah, indeed. And the support's there. We talk about it regularly and people are accessing them all the while, so that's good to see. New car sales on the up here, Kieran?
Yeah, new car registrations for the first 2 months of 2023 in Donegal are up 4% compared to the same period last year, and that is according to the Society of the Irish Motor Industry. So new car sales for January and February of this year in Donegal were 945. That's an increase of 38 compared to the first 2 months of 2022. And looking at the national picture, Greg, February's new registrations have continued on a similar pattern to January, with a 9.9% increase compared to the same month last year. But I suppose tellingly, a slagging 13% behind pre-COVID February 2019. So it's still trying to get back to pre-COVID sales.
The only thing is, and I wonder, is the fly in the ointment, is that, whilst production lines are improving all the while, I wonder, is it a case of the new cars not being there for delivery that early in the year, but the people are sitting there with the cash in their hands? Do you know what I mean? I wonder if that gap could be made up by a shortage of new stock.
Yeah, demand is a problem. I haven't talked to a number of local garages. Demand was a problem up until the end of January.
Supply, you mean?
Sorry, supply.
Yeah.
Demand wasn't a problem. Meeting the demand was the problem. So, again, I've noticed a slight drop, Greg, in the price of second-hand cars in the last couple of months, and I'm wondering, is that due to the fact that the supply is becoming more plentiful now in the new cars?
For sure, yeah. It's all interconnected. There's just no doubt about that. And also, too, I think it's access to UK cars has improved a little bit as well, and all of those things filter into affecting the market, but still I think that's pretty strong figures for the new car sales.
Yep.
Right, the McCafferty Group, a big organisation now, they're in the Dublin market.
Yeah, they have bought the Barge, it's a well-known Dublin pub located next to the Grand Canal, and it's reported that the price was €3.75 million. The group is owned by Declan Boyd from Lettermake Award, and the company owns a number of bars in the Northwest and the UK.
It's interesting time and purchase there because commercial property transactions have been falling back a little bit, so maybe they're getting in just at a good time in the market there. Right, National Award for Linra Leitrim.
Yeah, Linra Leitrim have won first place in the State and Business section of Glór na Gael's national competition. Linra Leitrim promotes the use of the Irish language, Letterkenny and surrounding areas through family events and social nights. And Lena was appointed to develop an Irish language plan for Letterkenny as a Gaelic Services town. And an award like that has shown that they're doing good work. So well done to Barbara and the team there.
All right, it's a bumper Business Matters this week, and we'll take a quick break, and Kieran's going to stay with us, and we're going to have a run through of a number of guests that are on that podcast. Stay right where you are.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
The government is planning to make changes to the Temporary Business Energy Support Scheme to help more businesses with rising energy costs. Until these changes take effect in the coming weeks, claims can continue to be made under the current scheme. If your business has been impacted by significant gas or electricity price increases and you haven't already registered with revenue.ie, now is the time to do so. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Choose life. Choose fun. Choose not sitting at home getting bored. Choose something better. Something really fun. Choose Fundamania. Coming to the Brunswick Movie Bowl from March 3rd. Choose regular, junior or family wristbands and enjoy some of Europe's top thrill rides. Choose fun for all ages. A legendary Fundamania event, 3rd to 19th March. For details, see fundamania.co.uk.
Are you building, rebuilding or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest, Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2023. It will take place in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. Admission is free to this 3-day event from March 10th to March 12th. This ad is kindly sponsored by Efficient Renewables.
We're giving away oh no, we're just not ready to tell you yet. Tune in to the 9 till noon show this Friday to find out more.
Highland Radio weather updates with Ireland West Airport. Lanzarote is back. Check out our new summer flights to Lanzarote with Ryanair starting March 28th. Ireland West Airport. Don't just take off, take it easy.
Okay, so today continuing mainly dry with a fair amount of cloud and some sunny intervals. Highest temperatures of 3 or 4 degrees with moderate to fresh easterly winds. We're in the company of Kieran O'Donnell, and we've caught up on some of the news stories from across the region, and now we're going to talk about the podcast, which is available for you to listen to on demand on our website, highlandradio.com. It's also up there on Spotify and iTunes as well. So what's coming up this week, Kieran?
Yeah. On this week's Business Matters, Greg, I'm joined by the founder of 3D Issue, Paul McNulty, entrepreneur and broadcaster Bobby Kerr, and Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment Simon Coveney. Donegal Enterprise Week, Greg, was launched in the Radisson Hotel on Monday in Letterkenny here, and founder and managing director of 3D Issue, Paul McNulty, was one of 3 local business owners who shared their experiences in a session that was chaired by Bobby Kerr. Paul set up 3D Issue, which specialises in software for the digital publishing market in 2006 and employs a team of 20. Now, his company is one of the first to introduce a 4-day working week, and here he talks about why he took that decision.
So one of the things I wanted to do was introduce something that would make people stay within our organisation, and we looked at the 4-day work week, and it's been brilliant both for retention but also for employee happiness, and satisfaction in the job. So we have 2 systems. We have one team doing Monday to Thursday and the other team doing Tuesday to Friday, so everybody has a 3-day weekend.
So it was a change in culture is really what you were looking to do.
Yeah. And you see the team coming in now on after the weekend, you see that benefit, that extra spring in their step that they got from having that extra day off.
Now, it's an interesting one, this, Kieran, the whole 4-day working week, because I think there's kind of different groups of people out there. I think a lot of the employment in this county, a lot of it, not all of it, of course, wouldn't necessarily fit the 4-day week model because of maybe it could be in the hospitality industry, it could be in the tourism industry or what have you, and maybe they could adapt to a 4-day working week. I don't know, but they struggle already to recruit and retain, but maybe that's part of it. In other businesses, I think, where it's easier sort of to work out the hours and the productivity, the jury's in, and these businesses seem to think it really works. A lot of businesses that adopt it are retaining it.
Yeah, Paul's company was one of the first to embark on this way of working, and actually one of the other business owners that was on the panel, Malika Eastwood of Gerton Technologies, actually acknowledged the fact that Paul was the person who was sort of the trailblazer in this regard, and a lot of other companies have followed suit since. As he explained, it's 2 different teams, Monday to Thursday or Tuesday to Friday, so that means that the office is being manned on a weekly basis during those days. So, different way of working. Paul's in business 16, 17 years. He's about to embark on 2 new projects. He talked about the help he got from the local enterprise office when he decided to set up after identifying the niche, and went on to get help in terms of research, and a very interesting fella, and a team of 20, so a good success story.
Yeah, and you talked also to Bobby Kerr, you say?
Yeah, Bobby Kerr, as we know, is a well-known entrepreneur and presenter of News Talks Down to Business, and he chaired that panel discussion, as I mentioned. A native of Kilkenny, he was one of the original Dragons on Dragon's Den that ran from 2008 to 2012, and he is celebrating 40 years in business this year. In this piece, Greg, he speaks about the changes that are happening in the retail sector.
Retail is now going to have to differentiate itself from online. So how do you do that? It has to be an experiential kind of thing. So it has to be, the experience has to be better than pressing a button on your computer and ordering something. So there has to be a reason to go into a shop. And that'll challenge retailers. But I think retailers will rise to the occasion, as they always did. Retail's been changing for the last 100 years, and it's going to keep changing. And retailers will just change with it.
Yeah, and he's been round the block. He knows what's what.
He delivered the keynote address to officially mark the start of Donegal Enterprise Week for 2023. It top 10 tips at the end of his presentation, and the first one was damn the begrudgers, and I did ask him, was that the most important one, and he said it was.
And a lot of that's touched on, and we've talked about it over the years, however long you've been doing this now. It feels like a long time in a good way. It is, maybe that's a different way of phrasing it, but it is, don't be held back, take the chance. And sometimes it's those around us who probably are caring for us that are saying, don't risk it, don't do that. I'm not saying they're begrudgers, but maybe they live in the same sort of...
Well, just on that, he made reference to the importance of family, health and friends. And I suppose he may be looking at it through retrospective view, but a man who's been in the business for 40 years, and as you say, he's experienced the good, the bad and the ugly, and he did say that. The other thing he mentioned was the importance of having something outside the business to keep the mind right, and I suppose the importance of staying fit mentally and physically, and in his opinion, if you're able to do that, you would function much better as a business owner, Greg.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right, let's talk here now from the Minister for Enterprise.
Last Friday, the Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment, Simon Coveney, delivered the keynote speech at the Building Better Business event at Donegal ATU's campus in Letterkenny. It was the first of 9 regional conferences being rolled out by his department, and the aim was to highlight the opportunities presented by digital transformation and decarbonisation. Here he talks about the potential for renewable energy to be built off the Donegal coastline.
Sometimes people talk about Donegal about having it, being disadvantaged because it's a long way away from Dublin and the road infrastructure isn't what it should be and so on. But there are some big advantages too. One of them is the potential for offshore wind off Donegal, and of course the engineering know-how and capacity that you already have in ports like Killybegs and Greencastle and so on, that may help Donegal to really take that opportunity and grasp it. And in 5 and 10 years' time, we may well see significant amount of renewable energy being built off the Donegal coastline.
We will, but we want to see the benefit of it here as well. And we know the KFO, the Killybegs Fishermen's Organisation, are involved in projects to that end. But we also know there's a great deal of concern from sort of the inshore fishers as to what impact it might have on them and their fishing grounds. Everyone needs to be brought along for the ride if we're going down this road, Kieran. Nothing can be imposed on people. I think everyone, if there are information gaps and those vacuums are filled by concerns and fears, well, then you need to engage with those peoples, because this is going to move very, very quickly and they need to be doing that work now.
Yeah, you're 100%, Greg. And I suppose events like Friday are aimed at exactly doing that. He took his time to talk to the business owners and to the people from the different agencies. I suppose it was a fact-finding mission. It's one of 9. The aim is to get out into the regions, and they made a point of starting and having the first in Donegal and having the last in Dublin, as opposed to maybe that being the reverse, maybe in years gone by for similar things. But I'm sure once the process is finished, people like the Minister will be much the wiser in terms of maybe what the needs are for businesses, because what he did talk about in his keynote address as well was when they're drawing up a framework for legislation, they need to know what the employers and businesses need so that they can accommodate those needs when they're putting legislation together.
All right, the full interviews with Paul McNulty, Bobby Kerr and Simon Coveney are available to listen to now on our website, highlandradio.com, or on YouTube, on Spotify, or in fact on, what's the other one? iTunes. And if people want to listen to it on air, Kieran?
Yeah, after the 6 o'clock news, Greg, on Sunday evening.
Right, okay. And if you'd like to get in touch with the programme, what's the story there?
Drop an email, businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
All right, Kieran, listen, thank you very much indeed. That is Kieran O'Donnell, the Business Matters podcast, available for you right now. Right, 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Earlier on, we were talking about, someone asked about how, you know, our legislators, the TD senators, how many of them are landowners or landlords? Now, someone put some figures together quite recently, so I'll run through them so we get a sense of what the story is. Almost 80 TDs and senators are either landlords or landowners, with some politicians holding substantial property portfolios. 48 TDs own rental properties or land. 48 TDs. Now, that's a significant chunk of TDs that are elected into the Dáil, isn't it? 29 senators also have property and land interests. So 48 of your TDs have rental properties. The biggest landlord in the Dáil is Michael Healy-Rae. He disclosed he's got 18 properties for letting, as well as more than 100 acres of farmland. Sinn Féin TD Johnny Girk declared rental income from properties in Oldcastle in Meath, in Galway, Edgeworthstown in Longford, so it's not just one political party. The Greens, Brian Ledden, he's a landlord with a rental on the North Circular Road in Limerick. Former Labour leader Alan Kelly, he declared a holiday home that is sometimes let in County Kerry. Wexford Fine Gael TD Paul Keogh declared his occupations as a landlord, listed 3 properties, including 2 apartments in Enniscorthy and Haddington Road in Dublin. Sean Canny, he's an independent. He's listed several lettings, including 3 apartments in St Giles Place, Galway, as well as 3 other properties in Galway. Alan Dillion, he's a Fine Gaeler, declared a letting in Castlebar. Fianna Fáil Sean Haughey, he's got a rental income from properties in Kinsale and Portmarnock in Dublin. Sinn Féin's Rory O'Murco, he has declared the use of a rent-a-room scheme, while Fianna Fáil TD for Cavan Monaghan, Brendan Smith, he's got an apartment in Dublin, which is understood to be in the city centre. Charlie McConnell declared rental income from an apartment in Ashtown. It's understood this apartment is in the Chandler building in the North Dublin suburb. I'll skip through some more here. Thomas Byrne, he's a Fianna Fáil minister. He's got a rental property in Rossnowla. Kieran Cannon owns a holiday home in France. And let's see, where else are we? What else have we got? Stephen Donnelly, he's letting 2 properties, one in Sandyford and Cant and one in Offaly. So, you know, in terms of percentage, that's 2 ministers deciding this, that are landlords in Charlie McConalogue and Stephen Donnelly. I'm not saying they're the only 2, but the cabinet's not huge either. And then we can go on to the Senate. Fianna Fáil Senator Robbie Gallagher, he's a landlord with properties in Monaghan and Donegal. He likes the border counties. So that's it. And I mean, I don't like. How many of you out there know someone who's a landlord? If you know 100 people, are half of them landlords or a third of them landlords? I don't know any landlords, but if you're a TD, you know a lot of landlords, and they're TDs and they're making the decisions. They are the ones that are saying, do you know what? We need to be fair to the landlords. We really do, because what's happening at the moment isn't fair to them. Well, there you go. Listen, people can make up their own minds. I'm not drawing any conclusions from that. I'm just stating the facts as they are. Because someone asked and I said I'd get that, and we're working on other things that people ask as well. Okay, listen, thank you so much for watching, listening and engaging with the programme in any which way you did. It's greatly appreciated, and we thank you. More people now than ever did before listening to the programme, which is great. We'll continue to try and do as best we can for you in terms of, chasing up issues and keeping you updated with what's going on. We're going to start again tomorrow morning at 9. From me, Greg Hughes, Caroline Orr, who researched and produced, and Anya, who also worked on the programme. Of course, we'll be back with you tomorrow morning, as I say, at 9. Stay tuned. John Bresson's up next.
The perfect Mother's Day